And we are live. Welcome to the Political Orphans. My name is Nico, and I am your in-house conservative. To my left, Rob Ambrose, our token lefty. And as always, we review what's trending in the news. But our goal is simple. We want to show you that a lefty and a righty can actually get along. And even if we don't, we're capable of having a conversation like grown human beings. Because remember this, common sense has no political affiliations. What's going on, bro?
What's happening, brother? How you doing today? Excited for today. It's going to be a good show, I think. We got a great show for you guys today.
Yep. I'm kind of biased, but
Yeah, of course. Yes, of course. Yes.
I'm just a tiny bit biased. Just like
it's funny that our headline topic today, I think it broke yesterday at like 12:05, like 5 minutes after we started. So obviously we couldn't capture that, but this story sort of took the world by storm yesterday and today.
Though, I'm happy that that we didn't talk about it yesterday, and the reason being is that as you know, I do a lot of research, and I got 10 years back. I went very far with this to kind of show the hypocrisy that's going on right now, which I find absolutely hilarious. Like, this type of shit does not surprise me. The fact that it wouldn't happen would surprise me. So that's why I called it SignalGate. I'm giving it a name right now. I haven't seen that name used yet.
Oh, really? Well, maybe you might have started something, because I've seen it out there, I think, recently in one of the things that I saw. But yeah, maybe
it's possible. It wasn't there. Like, I thought it was, and then I looked for it this morning. I'm like, shit, maybe it doesn't exist. Everybody does that, right? They just, whatever the problem is, they add gate at the end, and
hold on, no, never mind, because I'm just looking at X as we're talking, and I'm like, I see SignalGate everywhere, but then I realize I'm looking at
that's
all
us,
the live streams, all the live streams from the show.
It's everywhere. You're right. It's everywhere. What's going on, Prairie? What is going on?
How's it going?
So yeah, I agree with Rob and I were talking about this.
J-Dog. What up?
Yeah, what's going on, Jason? Rob and I were talking, and it's not the first time we have this conversation, but we can always tell when a show's going to be good, and I always know when the show's going to be okay. Like, we are so dependent on what's going on in the news, and if there's nothing much, it's basically two bald-headed guy giving their opinions on shit.
Yeah, I mean, we do what we can do. But we can only work with the material that we got. And it's funny, you can always tell just by the topics if it's going to be a good show. And today is going to be a good show for sure.
Yeah. So just so you guys know, we're going to give it to you right off the bat what we have on the menu today. So first off, SignalGate. We're going to talk about the leak, the Yemen war leak that happened on Signal. It reminded me of something that happened 10 years ago, but we're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
I want to talk about, I don't know if you guys saw this, but there's a Canadian woman right now that's going viral for exposing what's going on in the healthcare system and how it's going to take her something like 13 months to get an MRI for a brain tumor. It's absolutely ridiculous, but I've experienced it. I don't have a brain, so there's no tumors there, so it's not a problem.
That tumor is
surgery-wise. But you're an ass. Yes, indeed. But the point is that I've been there before. Like, I've had a lot of surgeries done, and it always takes, like, it's literally, unless you're dying, even if you're dying now, they're probably going to offer you MAID. Are you sure you wouldn't like to die now?
Yeah. Do you want to wait 12 hours in the ER, or we'll just kill you?
Or would you like to die? Yeah.
Yeah.
What's going on, Tony G? What's going on?
How's it going, brother?
I also want to talk about two other things. One, Cain Velasquez. If you do not know who Cain Velasquez is as a man, he's a UFC fighter, used to be world champ in the UFC as a heavyweight. He's a big motherfucking Mexican. He's a big boy. And he did something a few years back that I found, I understand why he did it. I don't understand why he did it. He responded the way that he did. He could have been slicker, if you ask me, but he was just found guilty and will be headed to jail for 4 years. And there's one more thing. Unless you had something to say about Coin.
No, I was just going to
Cain
add to that,
Velasquez.
but like, I guess if it, we'll just wait till we get there. I was going to talk a little bit about that, but
I'm just introducing the subject.
Okay,
It's gonna be okay, bro. We got 2 hours. It's gonna be fine.
I'm getting anxious here.
Man, this is the first time that 5 minutes in, we're already talking about what
you
we're
can always tell it's a good show.
Because I'm excited about it. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about, because it might seem like nothing to the average person, but I've identified this as a conspiracy theorist. I've identified this as a problem a long time ago. And it's the 23andMe. You know what that is, right?
I do. And I'm not sure when you said, I was interested when you said we were going to talk about this, because I actually haven't seen anything about like what's in the news we could be talking about, but I actually have my own theories, and they're probably close to yours, I feel like, because they're probably somewhat conspiratorial as well. So I definitely
what's funny is that I found a video that's extremely conspiracy theory. And then this morning I started looking and I found another one from CNN. And the guy, the expert they had on, is very fucking close to what I was thinking was conspiracy theory. Like the guy in the conspiracy theory goes further down the rabbit hole, but they're basically saying the same thing. Like I found it. CNN, conspiracy theory, sound the same. That's fucking scary. That is fucking scary.
Like in the world. Yeah. All right. Jason said, sorry, was there, you wanted to finish up there?
No, it's okay.
I didn't mean to cut you off. Cool. I'll just take a couple of these.
It's all good, asshole.
Yeah, it's all right. Yeah,
it's okay, asshole.
I'm used to it. You're such a prick. All right, Jason says you should have a wildest story of the week Thursdays. Yeah, we're always talking about different segments we can, like, for example, the joke, the last 5 to 10 minutes of our funnies that we're going to add to the end. We only brought up that after our show Friday, where we kind of accidentally did that. And I think everybody
was pissing. Like I was laughing.
Everybody had a blast. Yeah. And
yes.
So we're going to add that. And, that's the kind of thing we're going to do, is just add segments as we go. And that's exactly the kind of thing. In fact, me and Nico were kind of talking about something like this just before the show. So yeah, we're definitely going to incorporate those kind of things into it. Tony G.
Before you go any further, though, one of the things that I like about you guys, and I'm talking about, obviously I'm not talking about Rob, I'm talking
of course
about
not. Yes, of course.
The listeners.
they know that. They know.
No, the comment was meant to you. Was meant for you, not the people. Obviously, the people we're talking to, they know what the fuck I'm talking about. But one of the things that I absolutely love about this is that it started by a comment that you guys made during the show. And then we went down that rabbit hole of dumb videos to a point now we want to integrate videos every day. And the one you sent me early, the one you posted this morning, and I said, no, that guy's a troll. He does that all the time.
Yeah.
Did you see my comment? Like,
I'm
gonna download it. I'm gonna download it. That one is brilliant. This guy is a master troll.
Yeah,
he knows exactly what he's doing, but the woman does not understand.
No.
The point I'm trying to make is that this started with a comment that you guys made, and Rob and I looked at it. We looked at the edits afterwards, and we're pissing ourselves watching us being idiots. So, and that all started with you guys. So the point I'm trying to make here is that comment, like, share this live if you want to put it out there to a greater audience, because the point is that you guys make the show. We're two fucking clowns trying to be serious, but if it wasn't for you guys, the show wouldn't be what it is right now, and it's just a tiny bit of what it's going to become. But we want to hear from you guys, so if you have comments, make sure to post them. But if you have ideas, like what Jason is saying, I agree. Like, I wanted to do that prior. I wanted to have a Friday recap. I just personally, on my other podcast, I just never got around to doing it. So maybe that could be it. Maybe it could be our Fridays, a Friday recap of all the bigger story that went in, giving people a chance to talk again, and then keep it lighter because it's Friday. Nobody wants to be serious. The weekend's coming up. But the point is, see how you guys are proposing shit, and we're going to integrate it because the show's for you. As much as we enjoy doing it, it is for you guys. So
that's a great point. I think in a way, it's sort of a crowdsourced show, right? We started with a basic idea of what we wanted to do, and it's mostly been shaped by you guys. I mean, if you're a real long-term listener, you might remember this show started. We were called the
A
Silent
real
Middle.
long-term listener
Yeah,
7 weeks ago.
7 weeks ago, way back in the day. But we were called the Silent Middle at first. We knew the idea we
Oh,
wanted. Do you remember that?
I
It was
forget. No,
Jason. It was Jason who
forgot about that.
suggested. He suggested, so you guys are like politically homeless on air, and we were like, God damn. And we actually looked, politically homeless was taken. And then we're talking like, but we settled on orphans, and it clicked immediately. But like, yeah, this show has always been meant to be, guided by the audience. We are essentially the conduits that sort of brings it together, but this really is everyone's show. This is a community show. And we could not be happier with the participation from you guys. And like, as Nico was kind of like fondling your guys' balls last week, like our audience is smart. You guys are really sharp. You know what I mean? You keep us on our toes. And I think that is why the show, like, obviously we see the numbers on the back end, and it is every day steadily increasing, getting better. And I think it's
everywhere.
Exactly. Everywhere because of you guys. That is sort of the secret sauce of the show. So again,
can I mention something? I have to mention something because I know that Prairie and Jason are on YouTube, and I've had a YouTube channel for a long time, but I always get in trouble with my regular content. I always get banned. Finally, we have about just under 7,000 followers on YouTube, and it's growing. Like, it's blowing my mind. It's growing. I was able to somehow, with help from YouTube, because supposedly I was part of a program that I didn't even realize that I was part of, but I had access to YouTube, behind the scene YouTube, and they monetized our channel yesterday. Like, it's insane. I woke up this morning to a monetized channel. I already had a chubby. And I had a real, yeah, basically. Exactly. But all I want to say is that for the people that are on YouTube now, I enabled something called Super Chat this morning. Okay. So if you guys want to, I'm going to look at it because I have no clue. I've never had that before. I've been on podcasts where the guys had it, but I've never had this before, and I'm not sure how it works. But all to say that for the people that are on YouTube, you can now use the super chat. You can use the super chat. But the point I was trying to make, what I was going to bring up, and this is not something I've ever liked doing. I don't normally do this on our content, but we can use your help, guys. We both Rob and I, we probably spend at least I spend at least 3-4 hours of research every day. I know he spends at least.
I probably spend 2 hours or so doing reels, cutting up.
No, but that's
3 or 4 doing.
Obviously, I do more than you. That's fine. But
yes, of course.
What I'm trying to say is that we spend at least 4 to 6 hours individually of our time every single day.
Yeah.
And now that we have an actual monetized platform on YouTube, you guys can give donations. I don't like to do this, but this is what we do. Like, this is literally like our part-time job. We'd love to make it.
We'd like it to be our full-time job. What we'd like to do,
brother,
is have, people running the chat behind the scenes, so they, so like doing the all the legwork that we currently do now. And then who knows? Maybe we can increase the lengths of the show or 3 hours, right?
Jason, it is super chat. Like, Jason is telling me that it could be. It is. I enabled the super chat before.
In the lower right corner.
Yep.
What does that mean specifically for us, Jason? Like, what is the difference between super chat and, say, the chatting that you've been doing this whole time?
The super chat allows for.
Is that chat monetize itself? Like, do we get paid for the comments to that?
They can give money. They can support us by giving money through the super chat. You can give special icons to special people. It's easier to track the people that are actually there, that are your longtime listeners, or the people that are always commenting, like a Jason and a Prairie, for example. You can track them because they have special icons next to their name. So all I'm saying is that we can finally start hopefully making money off of this. I would love to be able to do this 100% full time. Like that's
And
all I do.
of course,
Oh,
at this
balls,
time,
I
like,
love
you
that.
know, don't stress about, like, you know, donating money or anything like that. Maybe at
No,
some
no,
point
I'm
we'll put a buy me a coffee at some point, just enough to get so we could actually devote all of our time to this, because, you know, we really love it, and we really want to sort of build this community.
do you see it, Jason? And I'm sorry, guys, to put that on. It's just I'm really excited. After years of creating content, I finally found a recipe in this show where I'm not getting in trouble, and somehow they monetized me. So I'm kind of, my mind is kind of blown right now that this is
Okay, so
actually
if the audience
happening.
class shines, so they can, you know, they can donate $1 or $2 or whatnot. And again, you know, like, we're just excited to figure it all out. Don't like, we're not asking for anything just now. All we want is your participation. And you know, you guys, even this, hypothetically, this show could get to be 1 million listeners, and
It's
you got,
working.
yeah.
I'm looking at it.
Did Jason just hit
It's
us with
working.
$2?
No, it's just that right here it's saying we can even have moderators to help us out deal
Okay,
with the
that's
chats.
cool. I mean, we're just figuring
I'm
all
just
this out, guys. We're excited, but like, if this show gets to be 1 million listeners, you guys, like the ones who have been with us at the very beginning, like, you're always gonna have a special place for in our hearts, for sure. We're always going to be.
that is right at the bottom, bro.
That's
Show
cool.
your support for the political orphans.
That's really cool.
So did you actually give us $2?
I do believe you did, and that's why it's blue. Thanks,
Well,
brother.
you gave us a third of a Starbucks coffee.
Yeah, fucking
yeah,
yeah. We got getting paid.
Big money, bitches.
Yeah. Oh, but look, Perry says they're gonna take 40%, so we got $1.20.
I need to keep a Dave Chappelle. I'm rich, bitch.
Yeah,
I'm rich, bitch.
And Jason, really genuinely thank you. But for guys, like, for you, like, our regulars, don't stress about that right now. We're not asking for anything from you guys. Like, you have helped build this show. Once we start
getting, use words like that I can't repeat. You're an
asshole. That's
I can't repeat that on camera.
I'm
not that stupid.
It's a trap.
So Jason just dropped the N-word thinking, and we read off the script. We read off the screen. Sorry, there's no script here. Yeah, thanks a lot. I just got monetized today. You want to make sure this is gone, you ass.
Yeah, that's what he's doing.
He's basically saying N-word. You gotta share that cup.
Yeah,
like, bro, I'm a white guy. I know I look dark enough, but I ain't, bro. I'm white.
So back to Jason. He's saying about Cain, what was his first name? Something Cain?
Cain Velasquez.
Cain Velasquez. Yeah. So he's saying, I hope time is already served included. So I assume you know the story a little bit, but yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Prairie says cops are using 23andMe. That's kind of what my quote unquote conspiracy theory was. You know, we'll talk about it when we get to that segment, but that's along the lines of what I was thinking. I'm interested to hear what Nico's says. Prairie says, nice about the monetization. Hey, we're rolling big now. We're rolling with the big boys. We're gonna take that $1.20, and we are gonna hit the strip clubs. chucking quarters.
We're not even going like this. We're going like this.
We fling it and then we grab it back. We only got $1.
We just put it on a string, bro.
Yeah.
So how about we get started? We've
let's
enough.
I ain't saying she a gold digger.
Oh,
she ain't messing with no broke brothers. Did we get banned on TikTok again?
No, I don't think it's I forgot to add it.
Okay.
I tried to add it midstream and I got denied, but
what can we do?
No, not again. No, we're good. We're good. Jason's not here, so we're okay. We're okay. So how about we get it started from
let's do this
from the top. So we are talking about obviously what's going viral absolutely every excels. Oh, you didn't get that. No.
You remember last Wednesday Jason got his ban on TikTok.
I won the appeal within like minutes, but
it was fine. Can't wait to see
definitely did it. You did get us banned, asshole.
Yeah. I felt bad how bad Jason felt, to be honest. You could tell he was
it looked in his face like he was
I get it. You don't want to go on your friend's show and get him banned, but I mean, clearly. It was,
But
there
that's
was
the
nothing
difference
you said. There was
between.
nothing you said that should have gotten us banned at all.
But that's the difference between you, Jason, and I. I get in trouble all the fucking time. So I can't be on Facebook anymore. Instagram, I barely dodged a bullet. TikTok, I was one strike away from losing it. I had 4 live strikes at one point. So I always get shadow banned or banned. Like, I'm excited about a YouTube channel that I've started 3 years ago that finally gets monetized. So, woo, 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 woo. And now I'm $1. We're 60 cents.
$1.20. Yeah, because we got to share that 60 cents worth here, bitch. I'll expect that check.
You know
in the
what?
Mail.
Let's make it a Canadian. So we got $1 each.
Yeah.
What?
Fuck yeah, we're rolling.
Okay, we're
rolling.
going. Let's start with the first subject of the day being what I'm calling SignalGate. We have our officials, and I don't know what's worse, the fact that they added a journalist to the Signal thread, the fact that they're using Signal for official business, or the way that they talk to each other. Because I don't know if you saw some of the videos that shows the text. It's like, hey, bro, we just bombed them. Like muscle.
It's like, I thought there was something like it's really just a couple of dudes. They're just pressing buttons. Bomb Yemen, bomb Syria.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Yeah, press the wrong one. Bomb Canada. Yeah.
And this is what's like. I got a few great videos about it. It's just, it looks bad. It really looks bad.
So just in case the audience isn't quite sure,
go for it. Introduce the subject.
Yeah. So Pete Hegseth, the Minister of Defense or Secretary of Defense, sorry, he copied or CC'd a Atlantic journalist named Andrew Goldberg. Was that his name?
So they have, for some reason, they have a Signal group with all the top officials of the Trump administration. They're shooting this shit, it seems like, on a Signal, just like you and I.
Just saying, hey, who should we bomb? Want to bomb Yemen?
Exactly.
Okay, cool.
Europeans are fucking, they're beggars. Like, they're talking about official business in just in a thread, like you and I would talk. Yeah. And one of the idiots on that group added one of the main journalists that actually hates Trump.
Andrew Goldberg from the Atlantic is his name, yeah.
Which he absolutely hates Trump. He always
you could just imagine him like, oh man.
And you know, that's one of the things. Like, let's he talks, like, I have an interview with him to show you guys. Okay. And I want to address that afterwards. How
Jeffrey Goldberg. Sorry, that was his name, Jeffrey Goldberg.
He wouldn't have done the same thing if Biden's administration would have done that, right? So
no, I don't think he would have. I think that's correct. And just before
he would have said something from the get-go. Hey guys, I'm pretty sure that has happened to me before, right? Where you're added to an email trail, you're not supposed to be there, and I'm like, hey,
it's normal, right?
Remove me, guys.
Yeah, you guys shouldn't be here. So here's
exactly.
Here's a photo interpretation of what happened.
That's awesome. Yep. That's
Jeffrey Goldberg.
Yeah.
It's all good here, guys. Hello. How do you do, fellow kids?
Like, no, but watch the video that I have. He's such, watch the video that I have, and we'll talk it from we'll take it from there afterwards.
Okay.
But
Trump administration officials, including the vice president and secretary of defense, used the encrypted commercial messaging app Signal to debate the pros and cons of launching military strikes against the Houthis in Yemen.
And they accidentally invited the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic and Washington Week moderator Jeffrey Goldberg to be part of that chat group. Goldberg revealed the details today in a report published for The Atlantic, and he joins me now. Jeff, welcome to the News Hour. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So you're added to this group.
He hasn't even started talking, and I wanted to smack him. Like, he looks at the camera.
Immediately, as soon as someone was like, that is not the guy you want to copy into this chat.
That is the worst person you could have added to your chat.
Know anything else about him
other than frustrated white guy? Yeah, that's a liberal. That's a Democrat.
Grind,
Oh, you fucked up.
You're right, though. If it was Biden, he would have politely. Okay,
let's talk. Give it a minute, because he addresses what happened to him, and he's almost like a victim. Like, oh, I got added. I thought it was a joke. I'll let him talk. We'll
Okay.
talk
So
So other
afterwards.
people on it. Among them appear to be senior national security and
No,
cabinet
that's bad.
officials like Marco
That's
Rubio,
really bad.
J.D.
It's like,
Vance, Pete
who's a who?
Hegseth, John Ratcliffe, Tulsi
Jesus.
Gabbard, Stephen Miller, Steve Witkoff, Michael
And then Big
Waltz.
Bird in
How
there.
did you end up on this chat? And when do you realize it looks like you were added by mistake?
I was invited a couple of weeks ago to connect with Michael Waltz, the National Security Advisor. That didn't strike me as particularly strange, given.
See, right then and there, I knew he was lying. You've been speaking against Trump since like 2016, even before he became president. You've been talking shit about him for about 10 years now. You knew this was not normal from the get-go. Like you knew, come on. Like if the Liberal Party, like this is the same thing as the Liberal Party adding me to a very private chat with main officials. I'd be like, yep, they fucked up. And you know what? I would take all the advantage I could. I would really leak that information, but don't act like, oh, I was surprised that
fell into my
No,
lap.
it makes sense. No, sorry, it makes sense. Because, it makes sense that one of the main Trump administrator guy put me on that trip. That's totally normal to me.
Yeah. Like
Come
for
on,
sure,
bro.
he should. I definitely think if this was Biden, he would have like just said, "Hey, I'm not supposed to be here." That said, though, like being carbon copied into this, that is newsworthy. Like I'm not saying I don't think there's a problem with him reporting it. I'm just saying be consistent, right? Would you have done the same if you were carbon copied into Biden's chat? I'm skeptical.
I would have done the same as him. I don't care who it was.
It's
I would have
newsworthy.
wanted to be part. I would have been very quiet, not saying, taking a lot of fucking screenshots, saving conversations.
Well, that's
I
like
would
what
have
he
leaked
did,
it out.
right? Did he say
Yeah,
he was
yeah, but-
invited a couple weeks ago? So he was probably waiting.
yeah.
He was just waiting
Oh,
for
of
the right moment.
But hold on, you'll see. He makes it sound like, oh no, like
My job and his job. A little while later, I'm added to a group chat with the people you just named. That seemed strange, but I kind of just ignored it a little bit, and then
such a liar. He's such a
it
liar.
He was
really became
drooling.
a very
He was
bizarre
drooling.
situation.
That dude has had a hard as he's had to use Viagra for probably 20 years now, and he's been erected for 2 weeks straight now.
It was
Like,
yeah.
give me this.
He hasn't had a
Come
natural
on.
erection since he was 19 years old, but he was rock hard for the last 2 weeks once he got in that chat.
And I don't blame him. Like I do. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. I don't blame him. But the fact that he's trying to downplay that, I thought it was a joke. I didn't really realize what.
It's newsworthy. There's no doubt about that. It's newsworthy.
You fucked up by adding a guy like that.
Oh,
You
yeah.
really fucked up.
Yeah. And I assume that's what we're going to get into once we do the commentary part. We'll watch all the vids first.
On Saturday, the 15th of March, when I was shared on a text in this group from somebody purporting to be Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense. And this text contained operational military information, including the time that bombs were supposed to start dropping on Yemen. And this was 2 hours before that time. So I simply waited and stared at my phone. And
he's contradicting himself, saying like he didn't really care, but then he started seeing stuff about Yemen. The thing is that he can say whatever he wants. He should have said something in a way where who else could have been added. And I am not excusing Trump's administration. They fucked up and they're gonna look stupid for it. They have a lot of explaining to do to tell us how the fuck did that ever happen. But the point is that the fact is that for all he knew, there was other people on that email, on that Signal group that shouldn't have been there, that were added by mistake. If somebody made a mistake, obviously you can make a lot of different mistakes. And you can tell he's lying. He was salivating at this.
For sure.
I would have done.
So I think the proper. Sorry, finish with I cut you off there.
All I was going to say, it's what's the right approach? Because I would have been very happy about this too, but at the same time, I would have asked myself the question: who else could be here by mistake? And you're talking about you're really
National
talking about
security.
Yes. So what's more important, breaking a story or that shit that might be leaking somewhere else? Because as bad as this is for the Trump administration, and this will address it. I got more videos about this. When it comes to him, don't be surprised if he's held accountable for something. Don't be surprised if it blows back in his face, because you know what happens to people that leak information like Snowden. They're not very liked by politicians, right?
Yeah,
And this
that's
could
on
easily
both
get
sides.
back to his face. I am
They
just
they
talking
circle
as
the
a-
wagons. They circle the wagons when it comes to this stuff.
I'm just saying, don't be surprised if that guy's is going to be thrown under the bus and face consequences for his actions. I'm not saying that it's right. I'm not saying that it's wrong. I'm just saying, don't be surprised if this happens, because whistleblowers are not liked by government when it comes to national security. And I'm not going to say I agree with it or not. I don't agree with it. But at the same time, I think you have moral responsibility to not just think with your, I'm all about making money and promoting
and
this,
getting your name out there,
saying,
promoting your
oh, because this could have been, thank God it was just the Yemen.
Yeah.
Like, imagine that it was something completely China plan and that got out.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I think I think we both agree, this is a newsworthy story. I don't blame this guy at all for reporting it. I do think if we want to get into the nuance, I think, like you're asking what's the right thing to do, probably would not be to sit on it for 2 to 3 weeks waiting for a juicy story, because as you said, that it's compromised. So you don't know who else it could be compromising. So I think the proper thing to do, break the story as soon as you know it. Sort of, get your win, like smear, put egg on the Trump administration's face. Say, look at these idiots. They CC'd me into it, but do it immediately. There's nothing wrong with sort of calling out Trump administration for a giant fuck up. But don't sit on it for a couple weeks when you know that the security is compromised. Immediately, break the story. Breaking the story is fine, but you should have done it immediately.
And this is very good point. And this is exactly how I see it too.
Yeah.
This is newsworthy. This needed to be exposed. No questions about it. But did you have to sit on it for weeks? Because just the fact that you could have literally went through, do a copy, like a download the whole conversation, report it right away. Once you have the information, report it. Hey guys, you added me to this. This I know was a mistake. Maybe you need to make sure that there's not other people on there that could really do some damage with this information. And then you fucking leak that.
I'm gonna go to press in 12 hours.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, that's
no. I would have leaked it before. I wouldn't have given them the chance to get. Oh no. You fucked up. I don't care who you are. You fucked up. You need to get exposed. But at the same time, you should close that door right off the bat to make sure that this doesn't get worse. And thank God it's just Yemen. Thank God. And I'm not trying to downplay Yemen as a whole. I'm just saying.
But it's not China. It's not Russia.
Hey, can you imagine if something like that would have leaked the plan between Ukraine and they're talking shit about Ukraine and Russia's so right to have invaded.
Yeah. I can imagine that. And that, it's a good point, because at the end of the day, really, the thing that the Trump administration did wrong was inviting him in the first place, right? So as soon as he got done, it's not any more wrong. They're not in any more trouble because they waited till the Yemen story, right? So they can be held equally accountable even if you break that story immediately. It's still a giant fuck up by the Trump administration.
But he was waiting for a juicy story,
and that's not right.
Which I'm curious to see how they're going to handle it, because Trump's administration don't fuck around.
Famously,
and if you see the next video about Pete's response to this yesterday, I'm ready to bet that he's going to see something. There's something that's going to come back to that guy and bite him in the ass.
Oh, probably. Okay, so Prairie says government officials using this instead of this being Signal.
Stop. You're going to expose my next story that's connected to this. Stop, okay. Prairie. Man, I like how
we're too smart.
Because I'm going exactly thereafter. Don't steal my thunder. Don't steal my thunder.
Jason, Snowden was despised by the media because they wanted the story, had the story, and felt it was their place to break it. The Atlantic will be fine, First Amendment wise. Assange would have been shot. Oof. Yeah. I mean, I'm generally always going to go on the side of the whistleblower. Accountability, 100%. whatever side that is, even if I don't agree with your politics. And that's why both of us are pretty firm. There's absolutely had the right to break this story. I think.
Of course.
I think sitting on it, waiting for a juicy story, knowing that this is compromised, is not. Maybe it's legal or whatever. Maybe it's like, I don't know.
I'm
It just
curious.
seems, yeah. It just
I'm very
seems like
curious.
un-American, if you want to call it that, right? You do have to
Okay,
be
there,
on the
Canada.
You-
Yesterday
like,
we had two non-Canadian telling us what Canadians are. Now you have a Canadian telling
yeah,
Americans.
telling you how to be an
obviously,
American.
hey, Jason, be more American, okay?
Yeah. But like, yeah, of course there are going to be domestic disputes, but like, you guys are all on the same team, right? You know that they used to be. Politics stopped at the border, right? That was the way it always was. Like, yeah, Democrats, Republicans would fight with each other, but never like a united front against the world. And now it doesn't seem like that. Jason, you have to verify the source before they run a story. It could have been horseshit, but then again, it would not be the first time they did that. I mean,
but it wouldn't have been horseshit because the fact that they're running it off of Signal is a problem. They're not supposed to be able to do that.
That's
They're
a scandal
supposed
in
to
and of
use-
itself.
And that's my point. The story was already there. The point,
Yeah.
the fact that you were incorporated in a Signal group that is a third-party entity on official American business, official government business, that's the story in itself. Not only did they, you by getting added are showing why we shouldn't use those apps in the first place, because it's too easy to make a mistake. If you don't have a .gov email address, it blows my mind that they don't have their own app, which they probably should. But they're going to need to explain why they were using that app instead of using an app that's related to their .gov email address, because right then and there, that's a layer of security that Signal doesn't have. So there's already, Jason, you have to admit, there was already a story in the fact that they're using this and just their behavior. Hey, bump. Woo! We just bumped Yemen.
But that said, Jason, I do agree with your point, Jason. Like, if like, I don't know enough about the very specifics, but let's say it was legitimately that much time was needed to verify the story, then you're right. That's fine. Sure. Again, I'm skeptical that's the case. It seems a little excellent timing that they happened to verify it at the exact moment there was a juicy story. But like, you know,
already there.
That's neither here nor there. But I agree with your point that you do need to verify stories. And if hypothetically, if it did take 2 weeks to verify that, then that's fine. But I don't think, you know, and I don't know enough about the specifics. We'll find that out later. Personally, I'm quite skeptical that would have taken that time. But I do agree with your point. You're right. You do have to verify a story.
And Prairie is apologizing for stealing my thunder.
You're too
That's
why
we love you.
Prairie.
That's why we love you guys.
They're always thinking 12 steps ahead, right? They're way.
The only thing I ask, Prairie, don't make me look stupid. So let's finish the video.
This guy.
Sure enough, the American attack on Yemen, began to be felt at about 1:30 Eastern or so, 1:50 Eastern, and that's when I realized that the chain was real. Until that point, I really had a deep suspicion that I was being spoofed or hoaxed or being led astray on a disinformation campaign. The rationale.
You know, he spoke to his lawyers, to the lawyers at the Guardians before. Was it the Guardians? No, it wasn't the Guardian.
No, the Atlantic.
The Atlantic. You know, they have lawyers on staff that will tell you.
Of
What
course.
So you can tell. Like, I was just waiting because I thought I was getting bull fucking shit.
So that's interesting though, because he's clearly covering his tracks for exactly what we were just talking about. He understands that would leave him exposed, and just the fact that he's saying this, it's probably enough to protect him. But do I actually think that's what happened? I'm sure that there was more than enough conversations in 2 weeks that you would be able to like, you know, verify that just by what's then said and done out in the real world.
100%.
But is it going to cover his ass? Probably.
We'll see. Again, Trump's administration is full of
vindictive.
No, but precedents. No, but precedents. This is going to be. They have a lot of explaining to do.
Yeah.
They're going to throw that guy under the bus. You know how they are.
It'll be interesting to see. I mean, I as a whistleblower, I personally don't want to see him. You know, anything like criminal happening to him. I don't want to see him snowed in or Assanged. But you know, the Trump administration is famously vindictive, and Pete Hegseth seems like the kind of guy where if you fuck with him in public, like he's gonna track
you'll
you the fuck
you'll
down.
see in the next video. It's cringe. The next video I'm gonna show you it's Pete.
Yeah,
It
well,
is
I
cringe.
think I saw that, and I didn't like his response, but we'll wait till we get there.
Yep.
Now, for which I can't figure out, but this all seems so improbable that I simply assumed that it couldn't be real.
And I want to point out, you share some details, you report some details of what unfolds on that text chain. When it comes to these operational details, though, you're very careful with your language. You write in your piece what appears to be from the account of Pete Hegseth posts, quote, operational details of forthcoming strikes on Yemen, including information about targets, weapons the U.S. would be deploying, and attack sequencing. This gets posted. 2 hours later, the bombings begin. And then what do you see unfold on the group chat?
A lot of happiness and virtual high-fiving. There's some
That's the part
reporting,
that I'm like.
again, material that I didn't feel comfortable reporting because it contained tactical operational information about the effects of the bombing on various places in Yemen.
Of course he is.
Mainly, it was the participants in this group chat, which, as you note,
Like,
contained
this is-
most of the national security leadership of the United States congratulating each other and sending emojis, flag emojis, muscle emojis, fire emojis to each other in celebration of a successful mission.
We did hear from Brian Hughes. I know you did as well, the spokesman for the National Security Council, who sent a statement in response when you did reach out. He said that it appears the message thread was authentic, that they're reviewing how an inadvertent number, presumably yours, was added. He also says, quote, the thread is a demonstration of the deep and thoughtful policy coordination between senior officials. The ongoing success of the Houthi operation demonstrates that there were no threats to our service members or our national security. Jeff, you have reported on national security for decades, that this is being held up as an example of a deep and thoughtful policy coordination. Had you ever seen anything like this before?
I don't disagree with something that he said. If you look at the story in theatlantic.com, you'll see that they are having a live debate, including the Vice President of the United States, about the utility of attacking Yemen and the European component of this and various other things. There's interesting discourse going on, but according to everything I understand.
I just want to stop that there for a second. I mean,
I was just going to stop it, but
were you right about to?
No. Look at VP Pete. So VP obviously is talking
I fully
to
share your loathing of European freeloading. It's pathetic. So that's hilarious. That's really funny.
so
like,
bad.
So I mean,
so bad.
Honestly, but when I just saw this, I thought, like, yeah, of course it's a terrible look, and it's mostly a terrible look through the lens of that this should be super secret and private communication. But like, guys, you know, being happy behind the scenes of a mission completed, that's pretty normal. I suspect that goes on no matter in any administration, right? Like that's just like, good job, guys, good job, team. That's normal.
The only difference is that real men are going to use bumps and flexies. The last government was probably using like how do you call it, the replay, what's the
disabled
purple
emoji, high five, or the cripple emoji,
the disable, or you know, the purple.
Guys, we just successfully completed our bombing mission where we dropped leaflets.
What's the purple? What's the purple emoji? You know, the one instead of using a penis, they're gonna use
the eggplant. The eggplant.
Yeah. So they would have eggplant with
eggplant
a little
emojis.
Waterfall at the front. That's the only difference, right?
Guys, we
just celebrated this shit too.
We just heard from the Air Force. We've successfully dropped 100,000 pounds of LGBTQ leaflets on Saudi Arabia. Job well done.
Eggplant explosion.
Yeah. But like, one thing, like, you know, obviously they're talking.
Oh, unicorns and rainbows.
Yeah.
No, Perry,
exactly.
again. It would be but you know what? She's bang on. Yeah. Once again, we got some smart listeners.
And I mean, one thing, like, they are at least talking about, like, yeah, they're doing it in a very crude and sort of like bro-ish way, but they are at least talking about strategy, concerns, like, okay, what is the Europeans going to think? How are we going to deal with the Saudi Arabians? Blah, blah, blah. Like, they're not like, I think there's this impression of the Trump administration that they're all a bunch of just cowboys, just pressing buttons and dropping bombs and stuff goes boom, wee. But like, there is some thoughtfulness behind it. So although
They're not idiots.
This is a giant fuck up as far as OPSEC is concerned. It does show that they're at least taking some of this stuff seriously. Like, this is a serious policy decision, and it had legitimate aims, right? The problem is just the OPSEC part, that you invited Big Bird here to fucking listen in on the conversation. And
you were using an app like Signal.
That's where the scandal
is not governmental approved, right? At all.
Your dog wants in. Your dog wants in on the show.
She's like, those guys are retarded.
Yeah, she's coming over. She's like, yeah, isn't it? She's like, fuck it. She's like, fucking Hegseth. What a fucking idiot. But
this part, man, I fully share your loathing of European free loathing. It's pathetic.
That's bad. Honestly, I mean, we'll get to this later when we talk Hegseth. I'd be surprised if Hegseth keeps his job. This to me sounds like something you resign over. But we will see what he has to say. We talk a lot about accountability, and there wasn't any of that.
Oh no.
It was all about blame the media, and sure, blame the media works sometimes, but like when the story is proven true, right? There's no point in saying, yes, we confirm the story is true, but by the way, it's lying, fake news. Like, just take some accountability. You fucked up. Jason,
they have a lot of explaining to do. Lot of explaining to do.
And if they just revert back to that sort of reversion to just lashing out at the fake news media, that might have worked when you're not in power, but you are now in power. You're the adults in the room. You can't do that.
You're supposed to be.
You're supposed to be, exactly.
Unicorn, rainbow.
The mainstream media will not allow their own to be sacked here. The story is too big for them to just swipe them up and send them to Guantanamo, of course, and they shouldn't. They like, this just needs to be, okay, guys, you got us, right? We fucked up, you got us. Have your little victory lap, and then try to do, and then for the Trump administration, do better. Like that's the only thing you can do here. Prairie, it's disgusting to know how these people are behind the scenes. True disdain for people. I really like JD Vance. I think Hegseth is probably not a good person.
He's the instigator.
Yeah,
he's instigating this shit.
Yeah. Prairie, rain, unicorns and rainbows. Jason, worst cabinet pick ever. I think I assume you're talking about Hegseth. I think you're right, and I think everybody saw that. Just because you were in the military and you are on Fox News talking about it doesn't mean you're necessarily equipped to be Department of Defense. I like to see a Department of Defense, a Secretary of Defense who's more even keeled, just as a temperament. If only for optics, you want the impression that the guy in charge of war decisions is not a fucking lunatic, is a sort of an even keeled, reasonable guy.
But hold on, before you give that opinion, let me play the next video that I think you saw from, how do you pronounce his last name? Pete? Hegseth? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
We'll call it Hegseth. Hegseth.
Yeah, Hegseth.
Yeah, I'm no, Set.
No,
like Hegseth.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to start calling him Pete Hegseth.
All right, let's do it. Easier.
Pete Hegseth. This is his reaction to this story leaking yesterday. And it's cringe. It is really, really cringe. I was watching it. I'm like,
information about war plans against the Houthis in Yemen was shared with a journalist in the Atlantic. And were those details classified?
You're talking about a deceitful and highly discredited so-called journalist who's made a profession of peddling hoaxes time and time again, to include the hoaxes of Russia, or the fine people on both sides hoax, or suckers and losers hoax. So this is the guy that peddles in garbage. This is what he does. I would love to comment on the Houthi campaign because of the skill and courage of our troops. I've monitored it very closely from the beginning. And you see, we've been managing 4 years of deferred maintenance under the Trump administration. Our troops, our sailors were getting shot at as targets. Our ships couldn't sail through. And when they did shoot back, it was purely defensively or at shacks in Yemen. President Trump said, no more. We will reestablish deterrence. We will open freedom of navigation, and we will ultimately decimate the Houthis, which is exactly what we're doing as we speak from the beginning, overwhelmingly.
Why were those details shared on Signal, and how did you learn that a journalist was privy to the targets, the types of weapons used?
I've heard I was characterized. Nobody was texting war plans, and that's all I have to say about that. Thank you.
That's it.
You know, he did not address it, bro.
No.
You got to take that one on the chin because you fucked up. You
That's
fucked up.
Yeah.
There's no other way to address it. You fucked up. And I think you might be right. I think he will lose his job over this. Trump's going to throw him under the bus. But the thing, what I found what's cringy about this is that he attacks the journalists. It does not matter how you feel. You know, I've defended Trump a lot of time against leftists attacking his policies because of who he is. Because they don't like him. Everything that he says is wrong. No. And it's the same thing here, Pete, bro. Bro, you fucked up.
Yeah.
You fucked up. It's your fault if this happened. The fact that you don't like the reporter that you added to the thread is irrelevant.
Yep.
You fucked up. You fucked up. Not him. You fucked up.
Yeah, and you like even if you know, okay, we're sure that guy doesn't like Trump and he doesn't like you, so then you really fucked up by giving him the ammunition to take you down, right? Like, so, and in my opinion, if I was Trump, the only shot he would have had at keeping his job would have been just accountability in that moment.
Yeah,
would have been, I fucked up, you know. We're still, we're doing so many things, so many great things, blah, 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 blah. So, you know, whatever politician-y thing you want to say, but the gist of it has to be, I fucked up and I will make it my mission the rest of my time here to never have a mistake like this again. But of course we didn't see that. And I mean, there has to be accountability. You can't expect it from the other side if you don't yourself take it.
But it gets worse because I got Trump's response to this, and it doesn't get better. It does not. They
the thing is
they fucked up.
We talk a lot about accountability, but
it's everything, bro.
You
it's
know, Trump,
everything.
His personality is not that. Like, he's not as a person going to take accountability, right? So, like, you know, it's good that, you know, even though you're a righty, you're conservative. I like that you can recognize, you know,
how much of a hypocrite would I be? And you know, I could have avoided this Pete video and just throw the other guy under the bus as much. That's the thing. I don't agree with what the journalist did. In my opinion, he should have taken the story from the get-go, that he was added to it, that they were talking on a platform that they shouldn't be talking on. Informed them that, bro, like what matters more, your country or your own pockets?
You still got your story. You still got the big story.
Right? Yeah, because the Yemen thing, as Pete is probably right that they did not discuss plans. Yeah. Did they? Hey, bro, we're fucking awesome. Probably, obviously, obviously.
Yeah, we did.
Obviously, but he could have left it there, call it a day, say, hey guys, I'm on here. This shouldn't be here. By the way, this has already been published. You guys are fucked already. Done. Yep. He would have done his job. Yep. That would have been enough to get Pete in trouble.
Yep.
Now Pete looks like an asshole.
Yep.
The other guy kind of looks like an asshole too. And then Trump looks like he's. I got a video from Trump's response yesterday. And
I really want to see that. Actually,
it's not good. It is not good.
So Jason, what
Punani's message first?
Yeah, when you don't have a leg to stand on, you attack the person, and of course you're bang on. You know, that's the kind of politics we need to get away from.
Was it done on purpose, the choice of words? Because I want to, let me just re-put because what a punani. So Jason said, what a punani. When you don't have a leg to stand on, you attack the person. Was that done on purpose? Because that's actually pretty clever. If you guys don't know what a punani is, it's a vagina.
Yes.
So if you have a vagina, vagina? If you don't have a leg to stand on, you attack the other person.
Nice.
Brother, I don't know if you meant it that way, but that's fucking brilliant.
Love to see the wordplay, the crude wordplay.
Jason's I believe that Jason's a smart guy, so maybe it was done on purpose. If it was, gold star for you. If it wasn't, gold star for you no matter what.
I think Jason's the smartest one on the show on Wednesdays.
Yeah, that doesn't. But if it comes to me, it doesn't mean much, bro.
I'm just the talent. We're a low bar to clear.
We're just the talent here, bro.
Yeah, that's right. We're just the eye candy. Jason's the brains. Tulsi Gabbard warned everyone what was going to happen in Yemen in 2019. 2019.
Tulsi Gabbard is not an idiot.
No,
that is a great choice, though. I really like
that's a great pick. That's a great pick.
Oh yeah. Now let's see Trump's response to all of this, and once again, it does not look good.
To the story, The Atlantic, that said that some of your top cabinet officials and aides had been discussing very sensitive material through Signal and included an Atlantic reporter for that. What is your response to that?
I don't know anything about it. I'm not a big fan of The Atlantic. To me, it's a magazine that's going out of business. I think it's not much of a magazine, but I know nothing about it. You're saying that they had what?
They were using Signal to coordinate on sensitive materials and
having to do with what? Having to do with what? What were they talking about?
With the Houthis.
The Houthis? You mean the attack on the Houthis?
Right.
Well, it couldn't have been very effective because the attack was very effective. I can tell you that. I don't know anything about it. You're telling me about it for the first time. Anybody else?
That doesn't make you look good, brother. Makes you look out of touch.
So
you don't know what's going on in your own administration.
Exactly. No matter what, this does not sound good, bro.
No.
Like this, you're basically admitting that you don't. Either you knew and you're trying to look innocent, which is bad. Which is bad. Or you have no fucking clue what your top guys are doing.
Probably worse. Probably worse.
I don't know. Again, Pete had the opportunity to just, you know what, bros? I fucked up.
Yeah.
I fucked up. This will never happen again. I will make sure that we never let something like that happen again.
Yep.
Trump could have said the same thing. Just say, hey, guys, we fucked up. Luckily, no plan was really shared. Luckily, our Yemen mission was successful, but we fucked up. I need to talk to my guys and figure out how the hell did this happen.
Yeah. If you said, listen, this was a major fuck up. We're looking very seriously in it, and we're going to hold people accountable if we deem that necessary. And then that's it.
Wow.
And then you look like a normal, like people will make excuses for mistakes. What they don't like is when it seems like you're going to cover it up, or you're not going to hold people accountable. So that you miss an opportunity there. I don't know. Like if it were me, if I was Trump, it'd be a no brainer. Throw fucking headset under the bus there.
Headset.
Because why? Like, what's the constituency there? No one's gonna be mad at you if you dump fucking headset. The guy just has that punchable face that even his supporters probably don't like him. Jason, Yemen did not attack first. Trump took money from the Saudis to assist them in their genocide of Yemen. He knows that if Yemen fights back and kills an American, it is an act of war. Now, full disclosure, I have very little knowledge about the actual conflict in Yemen. Did you?
I'm gonna say, like I said, I have context into it, but I'm gonna say exactly like I always say, I don't give a fuck what goes on over there. As bad as this sounds, I don't care. This is not about debating if they're okay or not, because I'm a Christian. I don't believe that we should attack people. I think we should defend ourselves, but we shouldn't attack. So I don't care about what's going on in the Ukraine. I don't care what's going on in Israel. I don't care what's going on in Yemen. It sounds bad, but I'd rather take care of our people here instead of getting involved in shit that we shouldn't be part of in the first place.
Sorry, finish.
All I'm going to say is that the point I'm trying to make by speaking about this is really how they messed up. They had a great opportunity to be accountable. I bought some, like, I'll give you an example. I bought some cigars this weekend. Last week, my orders was put on hold for no fucking reason. I go back to see where my package is because I'm leaving tomorrow. I know I don't have a lot of time.
Yep.
Turns out it was on hold for no reason. I called the cigar company. I'm on
Mhm.
hold for a good 20 minutes. Then the girl that I talked to won't take accountability for the fact that they messed up. It's like it was up to me to cancel the order, reorder it, or just cancel it together because they
That
couldn't
drive me
match it.
nuts.
And no, but I'm sitting there with a guy. I've worked with customers for more than 20 years. You know what? If it's my fault, I'll be the first one to admit that I messed up. Because one thing's for sure, I'm going to fuck up again. I'm going to make mistakes. No questions about it. It's how you deal with your mistake, how you actually, what's the next step you do after you made a mistake and you need to make it better. And this is what I was telling her, and I didn't feel it from her. And this is what I'm seeing here. Trump is going to mess up. His cabinet are going to mess up. They're regular human beings. Love them, hate them. They're just fucking dudes. They're just regular human beings. They're going to mess up. This was the perfect opportunity to differentiate yourself from other governments that came prior to say, you know, guys, we messed up. Let me take a look at this because this is unacceptable. I need to talk to my guys because this type of incident should have never happened. And unlike what happened in the past, we want to be accountable. We want to deal with this. You're going to fuck up no matter what. So just fucking take it on the chin.
That's a winning message. That's a winning message. If I was a political consultant, I would be pushing that message for every politician.
Yep.
You get a fuck up, say, listen, yeah, we fucked up. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to get to the bottom of this and we're going to take accountability. People will cut you some slack. People understand mistakes get made. But what they do not like is just politicians behaving like politicians. And that's exactly what we thought or what we saw here. Now, I did want to talk because as you're talking there about sort of your foreign policy opinions, which is basically quite non-interventionist. I'm
a libertarian at heart, man. When it comes to this shit, I don't want to get involved in other people's bullshit.
And it occurs to me that that's a growing position on the right, sentiment on the right. And I wanted to ask our audience here, who is right or right-leaning or conservative, how do you feel on these things? Do you think that America should be has a role in these sort of foreign interventions? Or do you agree with Nico? Do you think that stay out of it, not interested, don't want to do it? Because that is that's fairly new on the right? That the right has traditionally been supportive of that. Now, when I say new, I mean like probably 15, maybe 20 years.
Yeah.
But that seems to me
the left was anti-war for you think about the hippies from the 60s. They were very anti-war. They did not want to go to Vietnam. The right is more America.
Exactly.
But again, I call myself a righty, but I'm not really a righty. I'm more somewhat right of middle, but I'm not
for sure.
I'm a conservative 100%. I just don't. I'm tired of seeing our taxpayers' money spent on wars that really does not involve us. There's bullshit that's going to happen. People are always going to be at war as long as the people here, it always comes back to the same example. When you're on a plane, they're going to tell you that you need to put your air mask first before helping your kids. Because if you die, your kids are going to die too. This is the same situation. Just stop sending money in different countries, take care of your own. And if you have a surplus, you have enough money to take care of other people, guess what? Fucking do it. But until then, fuck you, close the book. Done. That's how I see it.
Yeah. I mean, to me, that's a common sense position. And that doesn't need to be right wing or left wing coded. That should be
it's nonpartisan.
I agree with that. And I think a lot of people would also agree with that. Prairie agrees with you. She agrees with Nico. And
we've been through this. She's very smart. Of course,
very smart. Yeah, and it seems like that's switched a little bit. Now it's the left who's like picking and choosing winners in wars, right? Yeah, rah Ukraine and stuff like that. I think I first noticed this sort of isolationist, non-interventionist sentiment in the right probably around the time Donald Trump got elected in 2016. But now I suspect it might be the dominant belief system on this issue on the right, and I'd be interested to see.
Because of the cost. I can guarantee you it's because of the cost. Like 20 years ago, it was not a problem. It didn't seem like a money issue. It was a moral issue.
Yes.
The way I see it is not about morals, it's about money.
It's money.
The people here are hurting. The people here don't have money.
Which makes it kind of a moral issue.
Yes, but it comes from my bank
Money.
account. It comes from
Yeah.
my own pocket. I'm like, when I was still in Canada, bro, my last job was paying 50 to 55% of my salary was gone.
It's
It was
wild.
fucking gone.
It's wild. And then you're paying
And
what, 14% on everything you buy after that. And we don't often think about that, but that's
and where's the money going? Right? Where's the money going? So it's
Leave
just
it.
one of those.
Fucking-
It's really just one of those situations where you're hurting at home. Because in the 70s and the 80s, it was not the case.
no.
So I could understand why people would argue about it. You know what? I get it. I get it. But now it's a problem. Now money is a massive problem. So why are we spending money where we don't need to be involved? Plain and simple.
Yep. Hard to argue.
I want to show you before we take some comments, because I know this is going to create even more comment, because I want to go somewhere even further on this to kind of show the hypocrisy, because I was looking at X this morning, and I kept on seeing posts like this, so it's regarding the SignalGate, and basically this guy, and I think it was 20.7 million views. So we're not talking about a small post here. Basically what the guy is saying, this is possibly the most insane national security story in the past 50 years. I'm like, hold on. I got another one for you. Because I'm seeing this and people are outraged and, oh, this is the worst thing since the past 50 years. Like that is a bold claim. And there's somebody that I dislike to a different, I think she is the worst politician of all time. And she had this to say before I play the next video. I'm just trying to put it into perspective. I'm not excusing them. I'm just putting into context. Miss Hillary Clinton herself yesterday said, "You got to be kidding me." Do you remember what she did 10 years ago? Do people have
emails.
forgotten?
The emails.
So I'm watching this morning, and I got the left that's throwing the Trump administration under the bus, as they should, as they fucking should. Hopefully that's been clear up to now, that I am in no way, shape, or form apologizing for what they did, because they fucked up and they're going to have a lot of explaining to do. But to have a woman like Hillary Clinton throw her name out there and just say, you got to be kidding me. There was one person that needed to shut the fuck up, and that was you, Hillary Clinton. Because I haven't forgotten. I've been following this shit for a long time. And even the BBC had a great video for you.
What does a disgraced former congressman who's accused of sexting a teenager have to do with Hillary Clinton's chances of winning the White House? Well, it all comes down to one thing: emails, which have become something of a curse for Hillary Clinton. Well, this all goes back to when Hillary Clinton was America's top diplomat, the US Secretary of State. She was offered an official email address, a state.gov ID, but she decided not to use that and instead used her personal email through a private server. Well, Hillary Clinton says it was all a matter of convenience and that it was easier to use one email account on one smartphone.
Looking back, it would have been better if I simply used a second email account and carried a second phone, but at the time, this didn't seem like an issue.
But it's against State Department protocol because government emails are considered official documents and therefore they need to be archived. Another concern about all of this was whether Hillary Clinton was, by using her personal email server, compromising government secrets.
There is evidence that they were extremely careless in their handling of very sensitive, highly classified information.
Well, the FBI did.
So I just wanted to put it back out there that I thought it was hilarious when I saw the video, because again, I'm not apologizing for what
hilarious.
hilarious. It was hilarious that the Clinton is making fun of a headset. And she did. This is the point of this video, is how much you want to bet that they're going to play if they're not going to take accountability for this, if they already haven't taken accountability for this, they're going to play the same game that she played. Oh, it was convenience. It was so much easier to just use the Signal app. We didn't share that much information on that group. This is why I thought when she responded to this morning, I'm like, bitch, you're the only person that should have shut the hell up. If there's one person in the US that should have
Yeah,
shut up.
yeah,
Is her because
you're
no,
not.
no, don't say it.
Yeah.
I
Let me stop you
remember.
right there. Let me stop you right there, Hale. You're right. You're right. And I when I saw her speak, I was like, oh, you're not the voice here. However, that also goes both ways, because the right
100%.
absolutely hammered her for it, and they need to absolutely hammer Hegseth as well. Like, it's got to cut both ways.
Which is, as
But
a
she's
guy
not
that,
the voice. She's not the one to speak out.
As somebody that comes from the common sense perspective, I get it's so easy for me to create content when I have people like Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton.
Oh, yeah.
When I got those two people and everything in between, I will never run out of content. Like, this is content for life right there. And it keeps on giving, because you got a girl like her that haven't been in the news for months now, since the election. And out of the blue, oh, I can't believe this happened 10 years ago. Like, come on.
Yeah.
But how much you want to bet that they're going to use the same? Because they ripped into her. Like, even Pete Hegseth, he was on Fox back then.
Oh, he said
was
all kinds
ripping.
of stuff, right?
Oh,
so
I'm looking forward for
yourself
content
accountable.
creator to put a little. I was looking for it this morning.
Do that.
Somebody should put a compilation together,
because he hammered her again and again and again.
Of course he did. Of course he did.
Yeah.
So
you got to hold yourself accountable.
I'm happy that she opened her mouth, because it's going to allow content creators to, like, oh shit, that's true. He did talk a lot of shit against her. And if I find that video, I will happily share it, because it's going to be hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
Hilarious. Want to take some comments before we go to the next one?
Take a couple of these. Okay, yeah, we did.
I'll be right back.
Yep. Prairie agrees with Nico. And this goes for Canada as well. Mr. Memorino says, I think we need some time to concentrate on Americans for a change and not outside concerns. And I think you're right. I kind of like when the analogy Nico used with the gas mask for planes going down. The reason they tell you to put it on yourself first is because it doesn't help anyone if you get knocked out from lack of oxygen. You put it on yourself. You help yourself first, put yourself in a position to help others. And I think the same thing goes. Right now, I do not think, like, it's tough to see you spending hundreds of billions on Ukraine when you go down the street and you see, cities that look like third world countries in some places, and homelessness through the roof, and veterans living on the streets, and just it shouldn't be a partisan issue. A lot of people are just like, this doesn't sit right with me. So I think you're right. Raiden, get a job, man. I don't know. Is this our first hater? I guess it means we're moving on up.
You know what? I get haters every day.
Oh yeah.
I got followers. I got about 10-15 followers.
Yeah.
They just follow me
just to hate.
There's a guy, every single post I put out there, fake news. That's all he says, fake news. I can repost a video from CNN. Fake news. I mean, so Raiden, thank you,
say, brother.
I love it. I assume you're a guy, because most haters are men.
Yeah, of course.
Bro, thank you for being here, because you're helping me. You know what I would ask? You're coming from Rumble. Please give a donation.
No, he's X.
Is he X? Oh, that's good. Buy us a coffee.
Yeah.
You should buy us a coffee.
Or like and share. I mean, Nico's got like 200,000 followers across all his platforms. This is his job. I'm also a business. I do have a job. I'm a business consultant that just gives me the flexibility to do this. So, I mean, I appreciate your concern for our financial well-being, but we're all right, brother.
But I have a job too, because making content doesn't pay. I coach people too. So I'm a strategist for social media. So this is how I pay my bills, because again, we got monetized yesterday. So hey, Raiden, I got a job. It's how do you call it? It's minimum wage job right now, but I got a job. Who in their right mind at 1 o'clock Eastern is capable of going on YouTube? Do you even have a job, Raiden?
Yeah.
Say hi to your mom, by the way.
Yeah. He just yell up from the basement. Hey, Ma, give me some of meatloaf. Give me some of meatloaf. All right, Jason.
I love haters. I've become such a troll. I'm such a troll in real life that I love fucking haters. It fuels
me. Their
it makes me happy.
Fuel me. Yeah. I mean, that's how you know you made it, right? When you get the haters. Jason says Hillary always opens her mouth at the wrong time. She picked the right time. Monica Lewinsky would never stood a chance. I mean, yeah, like she was. Yeah.
Zing zing.
you. Right.
Jason's back at it again.
Yeah, Jason doing Jason things. Prairie's laughing. Just thank them for the comment. Yep, that's it. That's all you can do.
You know what I started doing? No, but hold on. So I get a lot of hate on Instagram, and all of them are cowards. They never comment on my stuff directly when they attack me. They send me private message, and I'm the type to go check because I've been invited to podcasts by people I don't follow. So they end up like X. There's kind of a dumb place that you need to go open to check those. You know what I started doing? I started taking a screenshot of those messages and posting them in my story. And then commenting publicly on what they said,
I like that,
and tagging them in the post. You know what they do? They never reply to it. They never repost it. No, but it's okay if you're giving it to me, bro. You're sending me a private message. You deserve some attention.
Yeah. Some people do that, but they'll like blur out the name. I'm like, nah, man.
I don't blur out the name.
No.
I tag you in the post on top of it.
Yeah.
Yep. Screw you.
But yeah, like just to get back to Hillary, she's not the voice to talk about this. She had her own NatSec issues or OPSEC or whatever it is. And
that's basically what cost her the election. The fact that she's not likable and that, her potato suits and the email server. You know what I'm talking about with her potatoes.
Potato suits? I don't, but what is it?
Bro, hold on.
You mean like her outfits? Like her
the way she dresses. There's certain outfits she looks like she's in a big potatoes.
I don't know why. I really like that as an insult. Like, you absolute potato.
It's a great one.
Yeah.
You want to switch to the next topic, which
let's do that.
Is a lot serious. I saw that for my American friends. For our American listeners out there, you'll realize that Canada does not have a free healthcare. And not only is it not free, but it is not ran properly. So this is a video right now that's going viral. At least I know on Instagram. I don't know if it's going viral on X. It probably will.
I saw it. I saw it even before you posted it. So it's definitely making the rounds.
So this video is really messed up, but this is a fact. This is true. And this is what happens when you have a government running a healthcare system with taxpayers' money that have no clue what the fuck they're doing.
How fucked is Canadian healthcare? I need an MRI to see if I have a fucking brain tumor. And go ahead, guess when it is. Go ahead, guess. It's in 2026. 2026. My MRI to see if I have a brain tumor is in 2026. It's March 2025 right now. And if you thought this was bad, it's actually worse than you thought, because the appointment where we decided that I need this MRI was in December of last year. So it's not like it's 10 months from now, it's 13 months. It's a 13-month wait to see if I have a brain tumor. At first, I just thought this was a mistake because having an MRI every year is like a monitoring timeline. Like I already have an MRI every year for my spine tumor, which is why we think maybe I have a brain tumor too. So I was like, hey, they just made a mistake and scheduled this on a monitoring timeline. But no, I called and the clinic was like, yeah, the doctor actually requested that you have it earlier, but this is the next spot we have. We're seeing about 13 months for these brain and spine MRIs. Cool.
Wow.
I want to put this into perspective because this is a topic I talk about all the time. Like healthcare, I talk about it. We've talked about this multiple times.
Yep.
So just so you guys know, she has been told in December 2024. So we're talking 4 months ago, that she needed an MRI for a possible brain tumor. She just received information that she will not receive it until January next year. That is 13 months for an MRI. That's not surgery if there's something. Then she has to wait for the fucking surgery. It is just for the MRI. Let me put this into perspective for you guys. Right now in Canada, we have the public system, which is obviously what she's part of. You have the private system that you can pay out of pocket, or if you have an insurance that covers this, there's private clinics all over the place in Canada. I looked this morning, I did some research. You know how long it takes for you to get an MRI done on the private sector?
I'm going to guess less than a week.
Couple of days. Couple of days. So you're talking 2 days, maybe 3. You know, one of my buddies, people talk shit against the American system. You know, if you, I understand why, because the insurance company will rape you. And this is where I think the government needs to be involved. Is what are they allowed to do? They can't refuse people. They can't, you know, you shouldn't have to go bankrupt in order to pay for your medical bills. Especially not in her case. Like in her case, it's fucked up. That's her life right there.
Yep.
But just so for the people out there that just so you understand this, Canada right now. So you could literally go to the to the private sector in Canada, or you could go to the US in the private sector, just a clinic. They'll fucking take your money. They don't care. You could have an MRI done within a couple of days. Let's call it a week. Just for sake of argument, let's call it a week, although it's 2 to 3 days. Yet Canada spends more than $370 billion every year on our healthcare system, which represents about 30% of our income tax. So 30% of the cash that it's taking from citizens in Canada on their income tax on the federal level is spent on our public system. And that woman already has a tumor. So there's a chance that it could have metastasized, that she has a brain cancer now. She can't see somebody before 13 months. And that's just the MRI. Yet on the private sector, few days. She could go to the US, few days. And we spend $370 billion a year. And it might not sound a lot for Americans, but considering that we're about 35 million Canadians, the calculation is about $9,100 a year. So the average Canadian spends $9,100 is spent or collected from each and single Canadian right now. So on average, guys like you and I, kids, they averaged it out. Our healthcare system costs the average Canadian $9,100 a year, and she can't even get a fucking MRI for 13 months.
Yeah, I mean that's
but hold on, before you go further, you know what pisses me off about this? This is not a new problem. This has been going on for a long time. What pisses me off is that we're in fucking election right now, and there's none of the fucking parties that are talking about this. None of them are talking about our healthcare system. This is nonpartisan. We're in election right now, and this woman cannot get a fucking MRI for 13 months, yet the Liberals, the Conservative, the NDP, the PPC, name it, they're not fucking talking about this shit. How is this not a major concern? Because this has been going on for decades. This is not based on your political value. If we're going to spend $370 billion every year, almost 10 grand per Canadian, why the fuck can she not get an MRI? Why?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. I like it. Like you said, it's not, obviously tariffs are the big thing on the campaign trail, but no one's talking about this at all. And obviously, you know, this is going to be one of those issues where we diverge as far as we have a different prescription, but our diagnosis is the same. The system is broken. And now, as a lefty, my take is that's a sign, or means that we should fix the system. And yours is more like we should scrap it and come up with more of a free market system, I believe. But the point is, everybody agrees there's a problem. That's the big thing. When a woman with a tumor, an existing tumor, this isn't a maintenance thing, an existing tumor needs to wait 13 months to get a fucking MRI. And, you know, Prairie nails it here. The anxiety of not knowing something so serious. She could very well get her MRI in January 26th, and it's clear, and she will still have been harmed egregiously. You know, just think of the stress and pressure of not knowing, for, you know, having to go for the next 8 months, not knowing if there's something growing inside of your brain. That there has to be like, with the amount of resources we spend here in Canada for that system, there has to be a way that people who need their care get fast tracked. And if there isn't, then the system isn't working. And as someone who believes universal healthcare, like healthcare should be a right, like this is how you destroy the healthcare system, because all it does is it gives ammunition for people to say, okay, the system's broken, we need to scrap it. And it's hard to argue with them when you see things like that, right? So either pull your head out of your asses, fix the fucking system, or just give us back our $9,100 a year and go to a private system model. But this is, you're paying almost 10 grand a year. Like, when you say free healthcare, that's a bit of a misnomer, right? We pay for that healthcare. We all pay for that healthcare. Like you said, on average, $9,100 a year. It makes you wonder, what if you gave us that back in our taxes, or just didn't take it in the first place, and then set up a private system? What would our costs be? I don't know. But as someone who supports a universal healthcare system, you guys are doing a real bad job. You're not giving me anything to be able to defend it with when you see shit like this.
And Prairie is saying Maxime is the only one talking about healthcare. She's talking about Maxime Bernier, obviously. Prairie, they all talk about, let me make sure that we're on the same page here. They all talk about healthcare. They're all going to address it at one point. What I was trying to say is, right now, look at all the pamphlets that are out there. None of them's main point is healthcare. This is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no one's talking about it at all.
Right now, it's Donald Trump, big bad orange man.
You got Mike Myers over here talking about Mr.
Exactly. So as they all talk about it, Prairie, I want to make sure we're on the same page here. They all will address it. They all know it's broken. We've been talking about it for decades, but none of them are talking about it like it's an urgent problem that needs to be fixed. This is the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah.
This needs to be addressed because it has nothing to do with politics. And that is probably exactly why they don't talk about it, because now in Canada, outside of Maxime Bernier, that's sitting more on the right side, they're all saying the same fucking thing. Everybody's saying the same thing, from the conservative to the green. It seems like they're all stuck together. So talking about healthcare doesn't score points, exactly like you said.
Yep. Tony, should we be better off finding a tumor sniffing dog at this point? Now, I'm actually like, is that sort of just like a humorous way to say that it's fucked, or is that a thing that exists? Can you actually get dogs? Really? Yes. That's fascinating.
Dogs can be trained to discover cancer. They can smell it. Somehow you smell differently.
Yeah, I believe it. Probably the breath you exhale if it's in your body. I mean,
no, I think it's more than that, right? That this is something that I find fascinating. But
that is super.
Human beings are frequency based, right? We have a frequency that goes out of our body. People call it auras, people call it frequency, however you want to call it. To me, a dog can just sense it. Like over the weekend, there was a storm coming, and we know when my dog starts acting weird, she starts for no reason. Like, she has no reason to do it. You know something's coming. They sense it. So they sense something different. But he's right. There are those tumor,
but it's sad that
exist.
Like, this woman has to revert to that.
But for Tony G, though, I don't know if it was sarcastic or you were being truthful or you were actually being serious, but unfortunately, she already has a tumor. So the dog,
that's right. The dog, you smell that.
Yeah, exactly. So now, are they able to
differentiate? I doubt it.
Sniff different. Oh, if he goes up, it's in
like, your spine fucks, but your brain's okay.
Oh,
your brain's fine, but your spine, I don't know. Just give the woman a fucking MRI. And it's funny because, we've talked about healthcare a lot, and I fully recognize my bias. I'm relatively young, relatively healthy. I haven't needed the healthcare system in a long time.
Yeah.
And so I'm not really aware, but I can't ignore the stories that I see, things like that. I have one of my followers that died. I remember he made a post fucking on X a couple months back, and it was like, went into the hospital, but something felt, my heart felt off, or weird beat. They sent me back or whatever. The next day, his wife came on and said, to all his followers, sorry, he passed away in the night. And it actually caught some media attention. He was from Montreal. So you see things like this. And again, it doesn't matter if you support universal healthcare. I do. It's the people who support it that should be really sounding the alarm, because if it keeps failing, then the case cannot be made. And if I see enough evidence that the system should be scrapped, then I will. I'm always going to base my opinion on the best possible information. We can't blindly support a system that's failing just because we like the idea of it.
And because we don't see the tax money either. Because we're so used to just paying taxes in Canada and just paying and paying and paying and paying and paying without ever knowing. We don't it's just so normal to us to get taxed over and over and over again.
Well, when you said that number, 9,100, I was like, no way, there's no way. But now I'm doing the math. I'm like, I pay like 30,000 in taxes every single year. So yeah, of course, I'm sure about 9,100 of that probably goes to healthcare that I haven't even ever really used.
Let's just
speak.
I know, but let's use. So how many are we? We're 40 million in Canada, right? So we're 40 million. That is everybody. That is kids. That is everything.
Yep.
Last time I checked, the estimate for 2024 was $372 billion. So
okay, so divide that. What do we get?
Divide that by 40. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Yes, make sure you get the right amount of zeros. That's gonna be a lot of zeros.
That's more than what they said. It's $9,300, and that counts for that counts for children.
Yeah.
That counts for children. That counts for elderly. That counts for everybody.
The reality is, it's only the people making money paying taxes that are really paying. So that number probably drops to 25 million, or whatever it is, employed adults.
How many Canadians?
Are employed
full-time job.
I've
seen that number. I've seen that number before. You know how many Canadians are? This is going to blow your mind. How many do you think Canadians are employed as per February 2025? Yeah.
I'm going to say 25 million, 30 million.
Not even close. Half of that, 17.17.
Holy hell. No. Run that number again. Actually, you don't need it because it's pretty much half, so it should be basically doubled. So we're actually about 18,000.
We're going to do it. We're going to do it.
All right.
Divided by 17. So you ready for this?
No, I'm not. But
you're looking at $21,665 is what the average Canadian, the average worker Canadian spend every year.
I'm paying that much money,
21,000. But
if I've got a tumor in my spine and I'm paying $21,000 a year, you better get me into a fucking MRI machine yesterday if my doctor says I need it.
So what happens if your family, you have 3 kids, your wife and you work? That means you're talking 5 now. You're not just yeah. So a woman and a man that are both working, you're talking $43,000 between the two of them on average.
Wow.
Is spent. $43,000. It doesn't matter how you look at it, because even if you go back to 9,100, what's the average? 9,100, even if it's time 3, let's say you just have 1 kid, that's $27,000 spent right there between a man, a woman, and a kid.
Because that's everybody, right? So that's everybody in your house. Yeah.
And yet she can't get a fucking MRI for 13 months.
Prairie here says MRI should be running 24 hours a day. Why not? Oh, do they?
Oh yeah, I've had many MRIs and CT scans and all that shit done.
I know, I'm sure it's more complicated, but you're sitting here being like, buy more machines, right? Hire more technicians.
But it's not that complicated. Again, it always comes down to the mindset of a government worker or to a government leader. They do not produce any money. The only way they have money is by taxing people. Money has no value to them. They do not have to work for that money. Not only are government workers overpaid, not only do they not produce money, but they have no value. It doesn't have any value to them. You know how many times I used to sell telecommunication services to federal government and provincial governments? You know how many times I've heard this before where, you know what, get back to us next month because it's the end of the quarter, or it's the end of our calendar year. It's the end of our budget. So if you get back to us at the last month of the budget, so normally they run until February. It's March to February in the government. So if you come back to us in February, we'll let you know if we can take your service, because if they don't spend all their money, that's part of their budget is going to be cut. So they will, all of the expenditure, that the free expenditure that they didn't plan for always fucking happens at the end of the year, because those assholes know that if they don't spend it, it's not going to be there next year. You cannot run a business like that. There's no way somebody in a private company could say, hey, we have the budget. No, if it doesn't make sense, you don't fucking spend it.
Yeah.
That's why we're in this shit that we're in.
It's got to make sense. Memorino. She's a trans woman.
Oh,
She might get bumped
Jesus.
up. You're right, man. And I mean, I know
It's
you're
so
being funny,
sad.
but you're actually not that far off. I hear all the time women who, you see it a lot, who have to beg their doctors to get estrogen or progesterone or female hormones when they go through menopause. They have to beg them to get it, but they're just giving it out like candy to every dude that walks in. Who's like, I'm a woman. There are women who talk about getting, hysterectomies or because they know that they're done having kids and the doctors do not want to do it. They're like, are you sure? Are you sure you don't want any more kids? Blah, blah, blah. But an 18-year-old female walks in and says, I think I'm a man. Cut out my uterus. They're like, yeah, right away. That's a mental health issue. And not to mention our resources pay for that. Because this really is a resources thing, right?
Yep.
There's only so much resources. How much of our resources in the health system are going to cut off young women's breasts? How much of it is going to castrate young men? I bet you it's a lot. I bet you it's a lot. And meanwhile, this poor young woman can't have a fucking MRI, even though she already has a tumor. Like I said, it's hard to make the case that the system is not broken. Tony's had to wait. He said, I've had to wait a year just to get an appointment with a gastro here in Alberta. Many such cases, apparently. I mean, I guess
you know how you get an appointment. It sucks, but because I come from the fighting world, we know doctors. We personally know doctors. We have doctors that are friends. I've dated a doctor for years. I had access to different type of doctors just because of her. I've had access to doctors because of the fighting world. We all know each other. It's a small world. And oh shit, I messed up my knee. I need to have somebody look into it. You make a phone call, you text, hey bro, do you know somebody that can help me out? And you can get appointments within weeks. Just because of course, you have to know people. That's why you know right away that it is not ran properly, because that shouldn't happen.
If that's possible. Yes, that's possible. If those resources do exist, then obviously, yeah.
How much you want to bet that this woman, next thing you know, she's gonna have an appointment next week, just because that's going viral right now?
Like, I mean, it would be a good thing for her, but it would also be infuriating, because really you could have done so. Clearly, you could have done it. I think you're right. I'd be very interested to follow that.
You know why I know? You know why I'm right? Because 2 years ago, I bought a brand new motorcycle. KTM cost me $20,000. It's a competition bike. Within 3,000 kilometers, they had to replace the engine. I wasn't able to clutch anymore.
Wow.
So I brought it back to them. I was in Arizona back then. I had to drive it up to Phoenix, which is hours away. They kept it for a month. I could not get anybody to call me back again. I'm a content creator, so I made a KTM video and I went viral. The video made like 1.5 million views. All I said is,
next thing you knew,
I bought a brand new KTM. This is what happened. Those guys don't care about your business. Buy a BMW. That was basically the video. I'm an asshole. I know how to troll people. Next thing you know, my video goes viral. I probably cost KT. No. If you saw the amount of comments that were like, hey, bro, thanks a lot for saying this. I was debating between a KTM and another bike. I'll never buy KTM. And people kept on tagging KTM. I was just letting it go. Next thing you know, the director of operations for all North America gives me a call.
Let me guess. He asked you to take it down, and he would take care of you.
No, he didn't ask me to take it down. He just reimbursed me.
Okay.
But if it wasn't, I guarantee you, nobody was calling me back. The little technician wasn't even calling me back. The people making the repair at the garage didn't want to call me back. Then I get access to a guy right out of the blue. Hey, Mr. Wagon, not a problem. Yeah, fuck you. So this is what's going to happen to this girl. But it just exposes that they have the resources to help you. They just don't want to do it.
And you do see those sorts of cases, regularly with private business, and it's infuriating enough. But to see it in the healthcare system, that's a whole.
We're talking about a leisure that costs me a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
So don't feel bad for me. Oh, my super expensive bike's not working. I wasn't fucking dying of a brain tumor.
Yeah, that's
like let's be honest. I'm just using it as an example.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's a good example.
It exposes that they just don't give a fuck. Yeah. But it exposes how a video that goes viral, if you understand how to make content, It is so easy. It's the same thing. Hey, for the people out there, learn how to write a good Google review. I've had some really great service, some really shitty service. I write Google reviews to people. Great service, terrible service. I had an IKEA kitchen that I built myself, cost me $7,000 just for the cabinets. The guy that delivered it did not want to give me the time to look that all the boxes were there. Yep. So I wrote on his bill, I'm just like not accepting delivery. They still left it there. Obviously, there was shit missing. I wrote a Google, and I write really good, like really detailed analysis of things.
I don't like to brag, but I'm quite
but that's what I do.
Yes, I know.
That's kind of what I do. I'm kind of an asshole, and now I have skin in the game. You know who called me? The general manager. I always get that. If you understand how to create content, if you understand how to utilize, but it's the understand how powerful social media is. Understand how much just one Google review. You know, on my Google reviews, I have hundreds of thousands of views on my Google reviews. It's just
that's funny. And I think you're right. Like, I hope for this woman's sake, this video does get her in there. But that would be a sign of a broken system.
That we're really broke. You're proving the point that I've been trying to make for years.
Exactly. Prairie. She says, I had a stroke about 3 years ago. I still don't have a doctor. That's wild. That is fucking wild.
That's 20. By the way, what she's saying right now, 1 out of 5 Canadians does not have access to a family doctor.
Well, I don't have a doctor.
I don't have one either. My wife might be able to get her old one back.
Okay.
But we don't know.
Wild. Yeah. Like, I don't have, and like I said, I haven't needed one, but like, it's, you know, there are people that really do need them. Things are definitely broken in Canadian healthcare, right? And however you sit on this, because me and Nico have different opinions on, you know, the role of government in healthcare, but you should be very concerned about this. You should want to hear this as a central thing in the debate. Of course, we're going to talk tariffs. Of course, we're going to talk Donald Trump. We need to talk about healthcare because if you don't like the universal healthcare system and you think it'll be better to scrap it, and that's a valid point. That's a valid argument. Then, you know, you want to talk about it. But also, if you would like the system and you want it to be good, because if it is not good, it will get scrapped, right? At some point, we can't have a broken system.
Because we're spending a lot.
So much money. So much money. That's wild just hearing those numbers. Like I said, I'm getting radicalized as we speak.
I'm pretty good at
well, it's you don't really. It's like you said, we're numb to how taxed we are. You almost don't even like. It's just
realize it.
Yeah,
you don't know any
when
better.
You break down the numbers, like holy fuck,
it's messed up, huh?
That is wild.
Now there's 2 more subjects I wanted to cover. I don't think we're gonna have the time at all because we're 18
what do we
minutes.
got?
We only have 18 minutes. There's 2 more things. I want to, you know what? Let's start with 23andMe. I wanted to talk about.
Yeah. I definitely want to talk about
Cain Velasquez is just a video that I want to show just to highlight what's going on because I used to watch that guy fight. I'm a fan. I've always liked the guy. He did something stupid, but I don't know if I would have reacted any differently. You'll understand why later. But here's I don't know if you guys have heard this, but 23andMe, the company that would give you an ancestry. Basically, you could give them their DNA. You could give you'd spit in a cup, basically, send it to them. They would tell you what you are. You're that percent white, blah, 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 whatever the fuck mix you are. And that's 23andMe. They're going bankrupt. Most people are just like, whatever. No, they own your DNA. You literally gave your DNA to a company, which I always thought people were fucking idiots for doing this. And I'm sorry. Any of you watching this done it? Dumb move. Gotta say, bro.
Especially if you're a criminal. There are criminals who have been caught because they sent it in and it matched a DNA database for some crime. No, it's not.
It's not a smart move.
Good that they were caught, but yeah, it's just
yes, but it's not a smart move.
It's not a smart move, no.
But it's not a smart move in the way that you approach it right now. Like if you're a criminal, you deserved it. That is
of course.
That is,
but it's also not smart for other reasons.
And I got 2 videos to show you. One, I will have to put my hat on, so I'm gonna prepare it. I'm gonna put it right here. Yeah. But the first one is from CNN. So as left as they come, and you know there's a lot of lefties that gave money to 23andMe. Let's be honest here. So let's start with the CNN, then we'll go
to find out more about your family tree. Well, if you have ever taken one through the company 23andMe, you should probably listen very carefully because the company is going to bankruptcy court to sell its assets, which includes, of course, your data that could now be used in ways that you maybe never expected or wanted it to be used. The company says they are, quote, committed to continuing to safeguard customer data and being transparent about the management of user data going forward. And data privacy will be an important consideration in any potential transaction, unquote. But experts, they're warning, delete your data now. Joining me now to discuss is Jeffrey Fowler, a technology columnist at the Washington Post, and the author of the article, quote, delete your DNA from 23andMe right now.
They really think that's
let's get right to the
company's
point of
going to
that.
delete it,
You
though?
deleted your
You
data.
know what? Thank you for saying this because
That's
even the next
ridiculous.
video talks about this, bro. They're not going to delete shit. They have it.
No,
They have
no,
it. But let it go because you're going to be. I want you to watch this. Try to keep it in and not go.
I mean,
in the
I'm
rabbit
already,
hole dead.
I'm already got this because I'm already cooking. I'm already
No,
cooking
but
up some stuff.
I'll put more because the other video he goes down a rabbit hole. But yeah,
On that particular site, why are you calling on others to do the same?
I sure did. I deleted my data. I told my family to delete their data. I've told all my
he
friends
looks
to
like the
delete their
type of
data.
guy that actually used
Look,
23andMe.
the company says that it's going to protect your data the way it always did while it goes through this. But the truth is that your data is now up for grabs. It could be up for grabs in a whole bunch of different ways. First of all, you're relying on this company that is now bankrupt to protect your data, to keep hackers out. And this is a company that has had big problems with that in the past. And second of all, and the biggest one probably, is that it is looking for someone to sell that data to. And whoever they sell it to can choose new ways to use your data. That's what's so tricky about genetics and all kinds of personal data. You can imagine one use for it one day, but you have no idea what it might be used for 10, 20 years down the road. DNA, that is the keys to your body, right? It tells a lot of things. It could tell your ancestry. That's one use many people have found for these services. It can tell things about your family history. So, you know, some families have what are called non-paternity events when maybe somebody isn't related to who they thought. So there's a lot of family tree information in there. And then the biggest one of all is it can give clues about your health, right? Because there could be parts of your DNA that suggest that you may be more or less inclined for certain traits or for certain diseases. And you know who would like that kind of data? Insurance companies and also pharma companies that want to develop drugs. So again, when you first spit into that little vial to send your DNA off to 23andMe, is that what you thought was going to happen with your DNA?
Now, before I play the other video, I just want to throw a number out there just to make sure I piss people off even more. It is estimated that 23andMe had 15 million customers. Just so you know, 15 million people. That's a shit ton of fucking customers that their DNA is up to grab.
Well,
but hold on.
Okay.
Before you go, hold on.
Right.
I want to make sure that we get to use those hatsies.
Yeah.
Zing, zing.
Let's put these on now because just listen to the CNN one. I could think of at least one serious issue with this, but let's see.
And that guy, and it's funny because I found the video I'm going to play right now first. This is the video because obviously I follow those type of people. And then I found the CNN. I was like, let me find something that's from the completely opposite side. And I'm like, oh shit, they're pretty much saying the same thing, except this guy is going down the rabbit hole, like rabbit hole.
If you've ever given your DNA to 23andMe, you should probably go and delete that right now. This morning, it was announced that 23andMe filed for bankruptcy and that its CEO, Ann Wojcicki, was resigning. 23andMe is, of course, the DNA testing company. They said that this morning, 23andMe shares dropped more than 50% in early trading after the company filed for bankruptcy late Sunday, blah, 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 shareholder value, whatever. Here is what's actually alarming. Quote, 23andMe's global database has grown into a virtually unprecedented repository of human genetic information that can now be sold in bankruptcy proceedings. That's right. The privacy statement of 23andMe says that, quote, if they are involved in a bankruptcy, merger, acquisition, reorganization, or sale of assets, your personal information may be accessed, sold, or transferred as part of that transaction. So what does that mean? Well, it means that the DNA that you've given them could be scooped up by whoever and used in all sorts of crazy ways. Things like maybe cloning you without your permission. Your DNA could be sold to malicious actors who could then use that DNA and leave it at crime scenes that you were never at.
Wow.
Of course, bioweapons is always a possibility. I mean, okay, those are admittedly kind of crazy examples. Maybe they won't happen. But then there are those mundane use cases that probably will happen. One of which is insurance companies using that DNA data to deny you coverage, which is something they definitely love to do. So if you don't want that, here are the instructions on how you can delete your data from 23andMe. Pause to read.
Yeah. So the thing that sort of jumped out at me is I think of how valuable data is, and it almost makes you wonder if the company wasn't set up, and this is why I'm wearing the hat, if the company wasn't set up just to get data, then intentionally go into bankruptcy, because once they sell it, whatever promises that 23andMe made about your data are gone. Like the new buyer is not bound at all by any promises that 23andMe said, because they put in their terms and conditions. The fact that they specifically said, if we go into bankruptcy, your data can be bought by whoever and essentially used in whatever way they want. It almost makes you wonder if it wasn't entirely a giant data mining operation, and the value of that data is probably far more than the value of the company ever was.
Man, one of the things I love about this show is that I see a lefty kind of become a conspiracy theorist, and I fucking love it. You have no idea. I get to see this shit in the live. You have no idea how many
that just makes sense.
half chubbies. You don't understand how many half chubbies I've had under this desk. It's a good thing it's a solid desk.
Your microphone just lifts up.
Well, I'm white. I'm not Jason, right?
It's
not going to move much.
We're not Jason here.
No. Jason actually sits his microphone on top of it.
Yeah, that's right.
What his stand, his microphone stand is black, and it ain't a microphone stand. Just putting it out there.
That's right. Memorino says, I didn't know about this until today. Probably already have cloned myself in China. I mean, that's the thing, is none of us think about these things. Like, we all think, oh, it'll be fun.
No, I do.
And like even put away, like, those use cases, just like there's family secrets that maybe, aren't always good. Like, if you're a grown ass adult, does it benefit anyone to find out that, like, your elderly parents, I don't know, maybe one of you is not actually related to you? Like, yeah, of course maybe you'd like to know the truth, but maybe, your 80-year-old father, maybe he would have been fine for him to live his last 2 years without knowing that his wife cheated on him 50 years ago, right? Like, there's all kinds of reasons that people don't think about, that maybe it's just not a great idea to have.
And you know what I would be very interesting to know, and I would love to have a geneticist talk about this. If my mother and my father gave to 23andMe, do they have access to my genetic background now? Because they have the two genetics, they can combine them and do me. Because at 15 million people, I think it's called the 3 degree of separation.
Yep.
Now, is it 3 degree? 3 degree?
6. I think it's the term is 6, but
6 degree, as in you're 6 people away from everybody on the planet.
Yeah. Well, look, this is great.
6 degree of separation. Yeah, you're right.
Melissa says, I use 23 in the process of getting my information. Are you doing that just because you heard this here today, or are you just sort of,
hey, what's going on, Melissa? Can you say hi to her? How about you be polite and say, hey, Melissa, great to have you on.
Melissa.
We really like you. Yet another intelligent
me for not being polite enough.
Yeah, but that's what the left is, right? The left is always tolerant and nice. All a bunch of fucking assholes.
Yeah, no, we haven't seen it for a week or so. So it is great to see.
Great to have you on.
Great to have you back. Tony, brutal. I deleted my 23andMe a while back, but I regret ever sending it in. Is it ever really gone? I suspect that, that you can delete it from your profile. I almost guarantee you that's not deleted, because that's their bread and butter. That is where the value of that company always
There's no dude taking your DNA in the little vial and going to dump it somewhere. And even if they did, it's all been synthesized already.
Yes,
they're not removing
They're not
shit.
deleting that.
Sorry.
And I bet you if you look at the terms and services, there will be some legalese written thing that suggests that, yes, you can delete it from your profile, but we reserve the right to blah, blah, blah. It'll be coded. It won't sound obvious, but it'll be done in such a way.
But they have your background. They have it.
They're not
They don't
deleting
need your bit in order to reproduce you if they have the technology.
That's the value of the company. That's where the assets lie. They're not going to delete their assets. That's crazy. Melissa, due to the bankruptcy, 23 confirmed. I'm 99% Chinese. Yes.
I'm looking at your picture. It doesn't sound that.
I was just thinking, I was like, Melissa, you didn't need a test.
Yeah, I could have told you that. Now, if you came back and said I'm 99% Chinese, we'd have a fucking problem.
Then there would be an issue. But of course, we're just having fun. I mean, like obviously, but that's really interesting. To hear all these people sort of chime in with their. I've thought about it. I have, and it's only after hearing some of the test cases that makes you wonder, like, okay, is it really worth it? Like, there's the potential for interfamily conflict. That I mean, if that's what you're trying to find out, sure, that's valuable. But there's a lot of people who would have just preferred to let sleeping dogs lie, and they don't want to stir that up, and that's not why they're doing it. Then there's also these other test cases. You've got what I would consider, quote unquote conspiracies, like cloning you. That sounds pretty wacky. But the stuff like,
because everybody wants a clone of me.
Yeah, there's going to be a ton of Nico's
everybody. You don't want that. One's enough. We don't need two of this shit.
But just like insurance companies, rejecting your, turning you down, denying you for coverage. There's nothing conspiratorial.
Or putting your DNA
that.
in a weird place where you get accused of something. I did until I saw that video. I'm like, oh, son of a bitch.
Well,
I've always known from the get-go that it was bullshit. This is the thing. You should not give that thing away. It belongs to you. Don't give that shit away. I'm a conspiracy theorist. So from the get-go, I'm looking at this. I'm like, no, thank you. People made, I think it was 23andMe that made the nice little pictures you could hang on your wall. It showed your DNA. I'm like, bruh. That's like getting an Asian tattoo 20 years ago. It says soup. It definitely says soup. Melissa, yeah, like that.
That's correct. Hopefully you weren't offended by that.
No, come on, Melissa. You're talking to a white guy.
Yeah.
To me, you guys all look alike. Same thing for me, right? No, but let's be honest here. White people look at white people. Come on, don't lie. Asian look at you and I. We kind of do look. So like, they all fucking look alike. We all say the same.
All bald white guys. We all look the same.
We sound the same. We look alike. It's.
But yeah, you're right. Like to be fair, I don't know enough to be able to differentiate. The Japanese versus Asian versus Korean. But I have no doubt that people from those areas can tell.
I could say that I could tell the difference between somebody that speaks Mandarin compared to somebody that speaks Cantonese. They're both Chinese, but I could tell the difference. Japanese, I could. Vietnamese, I could. You've never seen Russell Peters, the comedian? That dude is brilliant. Like back in the days, he makes the explanation of all of them. Oh, Jesus. See, I like her. I really like her.
We should play that 1 minute clip that we played from the Friday show as we leave.
But I fucking love it. Thank you, Melissa. This is why people, I don't want to say people like you guys, but that's why you guys follow us. Thank you. We appreciate
we can all appreciate each other. We all value each other. Everybody knows that, like, we're just fucking.
I say a lot of dumb shit.
We make fun of ourselves. Probably more than anything else.
Yes. It's not that hard, man.
And we love you guys no matter what. I mean, that just seems to me the healthier way to be, right? Stop getting 100%. To not getting offended about every little thing. What matters is intent. We clearly respect and value all of our audience members. We love you, Melissa. And I'm glad that you know what,
Melissa, hold on. Melissa, be honest here. Do you think in your small group of Asian friends, like with your family, do you guys actually admit that we all look alike? Like white people. Let's be honest. Let's put it all on the table today. And Tony is saying, ha, we kind of do look alike. Yes. Yes.
And I
we
mean,
do.
to me, like it's not like that crazy. It's not like it's racist. Like the fact is, like you know, almost every single Asian person is. There's very little diversity of traits within, right? Everyone's got black hair. Everyone's got dark eyes. So like, it's not
Everybody's
you know,
short.
maybe relatively so. I mean, slight, I guess, or whatnot. But
Just being
in any
stupid.
case, of course, yeah, it isn't necessarily polite in modern times to go around saying, and not you know, all Asian people look like, and it isn't true. But we're kind of fucking around, and I'm glad that you appreciate that.
Don't talk for me, bro. I don't like that you're putting me into your comments here.
Okay, well,
I meant
I'll be the diplomatic one.
Yeah, that's definitely your job. I thought that was understood.
It's
I
put out
thought we all
fires. Put out the fires that you start. Remember yesterday, fucking the kid from Breaking Bad.
Oh, stop! I actually, you know, man, I actually thought about it afterwards,
Nico,
and I felt bad. I actually felt bad.
Nico's like, you know, the retard kid from Breaking Bad, and I was like,
thanks for bringing it back, you asshole.
Well, no, to be fair, once you realize he was actually disabled, you felt super bad.
Bro, no. Afterwards, I thought about it a lot afterwards, and I'm like, man, this was not a good comment. Not that I'm scared it's gonna come back to me. I don't give a fuck. You're not gonna
you don't want to
be
be
a retard.
Yeah, you don't.
I want to make fun of people that are normally stupid, not somebody that actually has a birth defect. That's not right.
Yeah.
I really just thought he was a great fucking actor. Yesterday, my dreams were a bit crushed. Like I really used to like that guy. Now I'm like, he's just acting normal. It's not even fucking
it's him. But yeah, no, that's. I mean, obviously, sometimes things come out the way you don't mean it. But I mean, you know, clearly, as soon as you found out he was actually disabled, you were like, "Oh shit!" YouTube.
Damn. This is what happens when it's live, right? There's no taking it back.
That's right. I mean, that is part of the, you know, it's the double-edged sword, right? Going live.
I love that she's actually entertaining my comments. I like that Melissa's taking the time to answer my dumb questions, which I don't think is dumb, but I can see how people think it's dumb.
Honestly, I just think that this is the right way to be. Like, let's just laugh when we can. Melissa says, I'm from small town Alberta. I think I can tell the difference between white people. Yeah. I mean, that's it. Like, you know, I like how she brought up the celebrate our differences. But yeah, I mean, I think the best way to be is just to laugh about it. You know, nobody's trying to be hurtful. And I'm glad that everyone sort of we all kind of get that here. You know, we definitely love and respect you guys.
But hopefully you guys understand that. Hopefully it's clear up to now. I'm an asshole to everybody. It don't matter. I'm just
equally.
An asshole in real life. I don't care. The color of your skin is not going to make me more of an asshole. I'm just an asshole. I don't discriminate with my assholeness.
Before we as a funny video today, do you want to replay that?
Not yet.
1 minute
Yes,
clip?
yes, we can. But I want to show one more video about Cain Velasquez. We'll go over like by 15 minutes, give or take, which is pretty standard.
We can go over by a little bit. Yeah.
We started at 1 hour, then it was 2, then it's like 2 hours and 15 minutes. So this is a guy, you know what? The video explains it, but this is a guy I used to watch fight. He was heavyweight champion of in the UFC. He's a father. What he did is messed up, but is it really? Watch the video and let's discuss it afterwards.
5 years. That was the sentence handed down today to former MMA champion Cain Velasquez. Now, the charges stem from an incident that happened back in 2022, where Velasquez shot at a man accused of sexually assaulting his son. Our South Bay reporter Jesse Gary has been covering this case for all of these years and joins us now live outside the courthouse in San Jose. So, Jesse, when does the sentence begin, and just how long will Velasquez end up being behind bars?
Heather, good evening to you. Cain Velasquez was taken into custody immediately after that 5-year sentence was handed down. Now, he is receiving credit for time served initially when he was taken to jail, and then remember he was placed on home confinement for several years. That plus the formula of 1 day served in jail equals 2 days credit means that he will be done serving his sentence in roughly 1 year.
That's not bad.
It feels a little bit like a mixed bag, I think, for the family of Mr. Velasquez and his supporters.
Defense attorney Renee Hessling hoped Cain Velasquez would be able to walk out of the Hall of Justice the way he walked in Monday afternoon, a free man. But inside Department 37, Judge Arthur Bocanegra, his voice cracking with emotion, sentenced the former MMA fighter to 5 years in prison for trying to shoot Harry Gallardi.
The sentence is extremely disappointing. It's based on an alleged allegation that has no basis.
Gallardi is accused of sexually abusing Velasquez's 4-year-old son in 2022 while working at a South Bay daycare owned by Patricia Bender. Investigators and the court confirm on February 28th of that year, Velasquez learned of the abuse from his son and called police. Gallardi was arrested, questioned, and released, but the DA's office never informed the Velasquez family of his release or case status.
Anytime something like this happens, we sort of examine our processes and determine, do we need to make some new change, or is it just something that it was understandable why this may have happened?
Velasquez, believing Gallardi was going free, tracked him to his Morgan Hill home, then followed the vehicle carrying Patricia Bender, Paul Bender, and Gallardi. He used a 40mm semi-automatic handgun to fire repeatedly at the car, chasing the vehicle 11 miles north to San Jose.
Mr. Velasquez should have allowed the court process to continue instead of taking the law into his own hands.
Prosecutors had asked the court for a 30 years to life sentence. Judge Bocanegra, admitting the weight of this case, said the court can't consider the serious and potentially deadly crimes in a vacuum. Mitigating factors: Velasquez's blemish-free record and record of service to the community, and the fact he believed a child predator had been let loose.
We did not want him to go back into jail or prison, and unfortunately that's what happened today. However, I do think that the court made a good decision today.
The only person who is responsible for the crimes that Mr. Velasquez committed is Mr. Velasquez.
Again, Velasquez could be released in approximately 1 year if he maintains good behavior. As for Paul Gallardi, his case for allegedly sexually abusing Cain Velasquez's 4-year-old son starts June 22nd. Patricia Bender says she and her family have evidence that will show those charges are false. We're live outside the Hall of Justice here in San Jose.
And just they didn't really explain it, but if I remember correctly, when this happened a few years ago, the reason he got in trouble is because the 3 people that they mentioned was in a car, and they were on the street, and he discharged his weapon at them. He put the life of people around them in danger. He shot at a car that had 2 passengers that had nothing to do with this, as far as I know. So this is where, see how they're not talking about this? They didn't mention that. But if I remember correctly, that was the original reason why he was in trouble. Not really because of what he did. It's how he did it that was the problem. Because I guarantee you, if that dude is like 6 feet tall, 265 pounds, his face is squished. You can see the amount of fucking damage that he took to his face. He was a great fucking fighter.
Jason says you're right. That's how it was.
Yeah. And that's my point. So it wasn't about, because I've been following this for a long time, but I've got punched in the face a lot too, so we never know. But it's the way that he handled it.
Yes.
That was problematic. Not the end. It's if you're and I agree, bro. Discharging your weapon in a public place, you could have killed another guy's son by doing, because you always have to account for your bullets where they're going. Always. Number one is, where are my bullets ending up? And if you would have been responsible for killing somebody else's son, that means that you're no better than the guy that did this something to your son, if that's indeed true. But man, big up to the guy. I'm happy he's only getting 1 year. I'm happy that nobody else outside of his son got injured about this. But man, it's hard as a guy that's going to be a father, and I can't even imagine for you that, fuck with my kids, bro. I'll explain myself to God. No. You surrendered your I can't say it on YouTube, but there's going to be consequences, and I can deal with God later.
So yeah, I mean, when I hear that, I think I would have done the exact same thing as Velasquez, and at the same time, I think this is exactly how it should have went down. He should have. You have to have some accountability if you're going to discharge weapons, especially around innocent people. I'm glad he wasn't treated like a monster or a villain. Sounds like the judge had, he was
He's a super nice guy. He's a super nice guy.
Yeah, the judge was emotional. I'm glad that they recognize that this is not, justice is not just about the laws black and white. It's about understanding the context and nuance of every single situation. And while what he did was wrong, he is clearly not a monster because of what he did. I think I would like to see a sentence I think a sentence is appropriate. I would like to see it where he can get out between 6 months and a year, but I think a year is about right. I think that's a little bit nitpicky, but I don't have any problems with any of this. I'm glad that he's treated, and he's going to, as far as time goes, he's going to do easy time. You know what I mean? That's a big guy. Nobody's fucking with him. He's going to be a respected man in there. He could probably do a lot of good in there. He could probably act as a role model in there and help out a lot of people who need it. So you could see it. You could imagine, I'm sure it sucks to leave your family for a year. You could imagine a scenario where a couple of years from now, he looks back on it and realizes, especially if he's a religious person, feel like this is part of God's plan. I'm sure he's going to do a lot of good in there.
There's so many videos, and I'm happy that the judge saw that, because there's so many videos of him. He's just a father.
Yeah.
He was like, it's making me emotional because the guy was just a good dude. He's a massive dude, but he was just a good dude. Like, he loved, you saw, the UFC Insider, they would show him train and they show him with his kids. He's just a dad.
Well, you could see,
he's a good dude.
How much support he had.
Dude. Yeah.
He had a beautiful wife, family, all supporting him. I know I'm kind of getting a little bit choked up too.
Yeah, same here, man.
Anyone who's a father understands that feeling. And I mean, I'm going to assume that the allegations are correct. He doesn't seem like the kind of guy that's just going to go off, a rumor or whatever. I'm sure
the other guy's due to court now.
They're charging the guy. Yeah. And to a certain extent, you could say, not that it justifies it, but for a charge that serious, you shouldn't be let out, right? He should be in jail up until his trial date. So, I think,
or at least you need to tell them. Because I think this is where the big disconnect is. And the district attorney did not take responsibility for that at all. Just say, oh, it's only on him. That's it. No, fuck you. If my son came up to me to say, hey, daddy,
buddy,
that dude touched me, next thing I know, that guy's on the street when he should be arrested. Yeah, bullshit. Put it in.
And he called the cops. We all props to him. He called the cops first. He didn't.
I don't know that I would have. I don't know that I would have.
A lot more restraint.
We would have had a conversation.
Yeah,
I would have had a conversation with that motherfucker, like eye to eye. We would have looked in each other's eyes, bro.
Yeah.
So good for, but that's what I'm saying. Cain Velasquez is a super likable guy. Like, everything that I've ever seen from him was always a good dude, a good father, a good man. And I'm happy that it's going down that road, because he made a mistake. But he made a mistake. He needs to pay for it. But I'm happy it's not more than that, because it didn't need to be.
I agree. We're big on accountability, and you're going to have to serve some amount of time if you're popping off weapons around innocent people. But I'm glad that he wasn't treated. I'm glad that he seemed to be treated by the judge, by the media, by everyone as clearly a good guy who made a mistake. And like I said, I think he can do there's probably he'll be a role model in prison. There's probably a lot of men who will benefit from their time in there with him.
Martial art teacher. He's a great wrestler. He was one of the best wrestlers in the US, if I'm not mistaken. He's a massive, massive wrestler. So,
Tony, kids who are abused never fully recover from abuse. He should have been more careful in dispatching his vigilante justice, but it's hard to think clearly in the heat of the moment. I would have done the same. 1,000,000%. 1,000,000%. There's a reason why, of course, abuse of anyone is always wrong, but abuse of kids is like, kids are moldable. They're clay, right? Like, if they get abused in that certain time frame between 4 to 9 to 10, it will reform them, and then it will get baked in, and they will care. They can recover, they can get therapy, they can do well with their lives, but they will struggle with that the rest of their lives. And that's why it is a uniquely heinous crime. And I think, especially as a father, I mean, that isn't our kid, and me and Nico are choked up about it. I'm sure anyone who's listening who is a father or a mother, it understands that feeling. And like we said, accountability, he's going to serve time. And I suspect, I know a little bit about the guy just based on like what I know, seeing on the internet. I suspect he's probably understands. I doubt he's in there saying, "Oh, it's bullshit."
I don't know. I guarantee you he doesn't regret it. I guarantee you that.
No,
he does not regret. He does not regret. He might have regretted the way he acted, but he does not regret his intentions.
Well,
And you know, one of the things, I've had conversations like that, and it probably stemmed from that incident that my wife and I, because I like to talk about those things with my wife.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna get choked up about this, but not only there's a reason why my wife married me, because she knows I can be a monster. If you fuck with her, you fuck with my family, you're fucked. I will not think about it twice. But not only that, she expects it. We've had that conversation before where if this were to happen and I didn't do anything,
she would
my
look
wife
at you
would
different.
not,
She would look at
as
you
in, in, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Go.
Exactly.
So
that's
my role as a man. It's my
That's
role as
right.
a man. I take that one.
And this is why I don't think, and as a man, you probably would accept that year in jail, right? That is the price of doing what you're supposed to do. I think
no questions about it. No
and
problem.
that's why I think you're right. I doubt this guy does not regret it for one thing. Because think about what he has now. He has the respect of his wife. He has the respect of his family. His son, hopefully his son's too young and he doesn't remember what happened. But if they tell him, or if he does, his son will know that his father.
Who my father is.
Yeah.
Bro,
we're gonna cut this. We're gonna cut this.
This was not the intent, bro.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cry again. Fuck.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah. For the rest of his life, he'll know that his father. Yeah, exactly. That's my
was
dad.
there for him when it mattered. Father was there, and he tried to do the right thing. He tried to call the cops. It's when they released him without telling him. For all he knew, like he didn't know anything, and he flipped. So can you blame him? No. Did he act the right way? No, you didn't, bro. But at the same time, would I have been better? No, I don't think so. I think I would have done the same.
No, absolutely. Yeah, like you said, I don't know if I would have made the phone call. Like he showed more restraint than I think me or you might have. Jason, as far as punishment and rehabilitation is concerned, the 4-year sentence is just. He's not a threat to society. Everyone testified to his kindness. I say sentence of time served. You couldn't argue with that either. Anything from between time served to a year I think is just. But like I said,
I like the 1 year. I like the 1 year because he needs to learn from this. He made a mistake. He literally made a mistake.
And I really do.
I don't want to say I like it as in he deserves it, but
just.
If I'm gonna be straight, if I'm gonna be fair with accountability, you discharged your weapon in a public place. You could have hurt somebody serious.
Yeah,
that could have.
I bet he
really
understands
hurt somebody.
I bet he understands.
100%. Yeah, I think so too.
And I like I said, I suspect there are men who will do well, who will learn from him because I think he'll do a lot of good in there. Tony, real men cry, Nico. That's right. They don't make eye contact, but they'll cry.
Yeah, that's it. I agree.
Yeah.
I wanted to show one funny video, and it's funny. It's you that shared it, and then I think we can end on the one from yesterday.
The clip from Friday.
Bro,
which is just celebrate our difference. We cut it down into like a 1 minute clip. So if you guys remember that from Friday, you'll get a good laugh out of it.
So funny video of the day. This is the one. That guy's a master troll. I follow him on Instagram. He's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Trans women out here, tell us about your transition. How it went.
Can I hold this, please?
No.
So I have a question for you. Why are you asking me those questions?
Like we're interviewing like trans women and stuff like that.
I'm not a trans woman.
Oh no, we're fully supportive. Do you want to talk about sort of transitioning or anything like that, or like what people can?
I never transitioned because I was born a woman.
No, of course you're a woman. Of course.
Does it make a trans woman any less of a woman?
No, you are 100% a woman.
I'm not a trans woman.
Is there another definition that people like to use, or?
You thought I was a man?
Oh, there it is. It's so funny because it's like, if you really want to see what liberal women think of, if they really believe what they say, that trans women are women and there's no difference, and therefore they should be put into women's sports and women's bathrooms and women's prisons. That's what they say. There's no difference. If you really want to see if they believe it, accidentally call a liberal woman a trans man or trans woman and see how she behaves. And so,
do you have the video close for the other one?
I do. As soon as sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. No, go.
I was just gonna say
they made me think of another video that I think is fucking hilarious. I found it. I'm gonna download it right now.
Okay, I'll play the other one while you're doing that. But yeah, it's funny how ideology is one thing, but as soon as it hits onto their vanity, all of a sudden they know the difference between men and women, and they take extreme offense. Which of course if trans women actually were women, it would not be offensive at all. So I'm gonna
do you want to finish with that one? Because the other
do you
video
have
is
it
already
already?
downloaded.
Okay,
Yeah, because we should finish on that one.
Okay.
So the video we just played reminded me of this video, which, as a straight guy, this shit is fucking hilarious. I've seen it so many times.
I snap my fingers.
No.
I snap my fingers.
Hold on. Remove this. It's so weird that it does that. I don't know why it does that. Okay, now it's there. Okay. Now we're playing it. Listen to this.
If I snap my fingers, you'll forget that you were ever gay.
I was never gay.
Exactly.
Wait, no, stop.
Yes.
No, stop. You can't. I was never gay.
Okay.
No, I was never gay.
Sure.
You can't just state something, then snap your fingers, and then be like, I was never gay.
You say so.
You say so.
If I snap my fingers, you will forget that you were ever gay. But I was never gay. Exactly. It's so good. So good.
It's like fuck, what are the army boys, my army buddies used to say? It was like go up to go be like, hey man, you ever suck a dick you didn't like? There's no way to answer it. It's like, yes. I mean, but if you say no, no, it's like, no, I'm trapped.
But this video is great. I've seen it so many times. Wow, it's a good video.
That is really funny. All right, so we're gonna show just.
Did you see the one with the Trump hating during the last campaign?
Which one was that?
The guy's interviewing the conservative guy's interviewing a student on a university ground, and he's like, they're talking about Trump, and grabbed her by the pussy. Do you remember that comment?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He's like, that guy said, yeah. So what? You don't like beautiful women? The guy just trapped him. It was like, I'm gonna try to find it, but
okay, yeah, it's funny those sort of trap questions. All right, so let me big screen that. So this is our clip.
This was on MTV in the 90s. It is the most racist shit you've ever seen.
Got to celebrate our differences.
Oh.
We got to celebrate our differences. Ooga booga doo.
We don't say ooga booga.
We got to celebrate our differences. Cause it's beautiful. When the whole world sings together as one.
This is real.
I swear to you.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
We gotta say This shit is hilarious.
That is amazing.
Bro, I'm fucking crying. This is such a good video. Oh fuck.
Fucking bones in the nose and everything. Come on.
It's so racist. I love it.
Even in the 70s, I don't know how they got that one.
The best out of all of this is you just like, no, this is not true.
No, it can't be real.
No, but turns out that this video is fake. I learned about this week as somebody, I posted it on Instagram. Well, it's fake in a way that it was released in the mid like 2004, 2005. That's when it was. Basically, it was a show on MTV that would take old videos and kind of put them together to make them. So technically, what you see is real, but it was never meant to be serious. It's cut in a way that sounds really fucking bad.
That's still really funny. It's hilarious.
Oh, 100%. It doesn't matter to me at all.
No.
But I can't find the video I'm talking about, but it's okay. We'll have plenty of funny videos for the future. So you want to close it off?
Yeah, guys, thank you so much for being here. I mean, it's just, we knew it was going to be a good show, and it was a great show. We had a lot of audience participation. Even got our first hater. So, but guys,
even got our first $2.
Yeah, we got woo. Well, $1.20 because YouTube's taking 40%. But woo, guys, you could have been anywhere in the world here today, but you chose to be here with us, and we appreciate that. We always appreciate you guys being here. Like we keep saying, this is a community. It's not a show. It would, without you guys, it's just two fucking bald idiots talking about the news. So I mean, it's you guys that make it, and we can't thank you enough for being here again and again. So thank you, and we will see you tomorrow. Nico, you got her? Anything to add?
All I would add is, guys, make sure to like, make sure to comment. If you're watching the rerun, or even if you're not watching the rerun, make sure to share the link to this video. Share it with the people out there. Show the people there's still common sense individuals out there that might not agree. See, Rob and I often don't agree on the problem, not in the way we handle it. But we're capable of having that conversation. So if you think that we're doing good work, if you think that this is something others should see, make sure to share it. And Memorino, bye kids. Nice.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Guys,
I am
Tony,
very immature.
Perry,
Thank you for
Memorino. Thank you. You'll be on the road tomorrow, eh?
Yeah, I'll be
Starbucks
somewhere
on the
in a coffee
background.
place.
You'll see Jason.
Maybe
Jason
I'll drink a gay coffee with Jason.
Yes, of course. All right, guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow.